Fine. So, the local election results. I think you tried to come on my panel yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did, yeah, you missed it. Of course, it was very busy. But this is the election results. We've seen that Reform have had very big gains in different councils. And also, as a Green voter, I'm also very pleased that there's also been Green gains as well. And I think generally what I talk about on my platform, if you know me or don't know me, I've talked a lot about England and English people and the fact that their culture is very incompatible for the rest of Britain. And that's very true in the fact that Scotland have voted for the SNP, Wales have voted for Plaid Cymru. England is that racist anomaly that lives in the country. So the results are showing exactly what I've been talking about for at least 2 years online. I've been talking about this for years, but now it's finally happening. And also in the comment section, Gregor, good to see you. It's the beginning of the end for the UK. Absolutely. So Khan, what would you like to add to the topic today?
Well, to be honest, I'm from Yorkshire, and most of these northern towns, they all voted for reform.
Yeah.
So places like Barnsley, Wakefield, which is only a stone throw away from Bradford, and also our city, Bradford, sort of almost came into the hands of reform. And I think, from what I can understand, is it's mixed. It's not an overall majority. So it is what it is. And to be honest, I knew it was going to happen because people have been misled, misinformed on the media about mass migration and this housing crisis, and all the bills are going up. And it is what it is. It was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think all black and brown people knew it was going to happen. I mean, me personally, like I've said about my platform and what it is literally talking about how racist England is and how it's built on racism. So I don't understand how anyone's surprised by these votings. I feel like it's English people who are the only ones who were surprised because they're not really aware of their own culture. I think that's what it is. And I think definitely... I mean, living in the north of England, we had this discussion yesterday actually about the north-south divide. We had a lot of northerners come up and talk about how they have been disenfranchised, which we know. But, you know, at the same time, and like I can see in the comment section, they're like, yeah, but listen to how you sound. They get upset that immigrants and descendants of immigrants have this strong English accent and we're excelling. Like, it doesn't make sense for them. How can we be new to Britain and still be like higher up in the chain than English people who have been here for hundreds of years longer than ourselves, you know? And this is why they need to understand the country that they live in. Growing up in the north, I also talk about the Industrial Revolution because, you know, I even remember in the 90s growing up how a lot of people and the northerners were always talking about the Industrial Revolution. But only in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Khan, I've been reading about the Industrial Revolution and how fucking bad it was. It was terrible. It was really terrible for the country, terrible for the people. You know, the country was just everything about England is all propaganda, and the most people that end up suffering are, of course, English people because they believe the lies that have been fed to them. So we got Droog now, who's also on the panel. Droog, how are you today?
Hey, how you doing? You're right.
I'm not bad, thank you. Yeah, so this is the topic. It's the local election results. Reform have made it very clear that they do stand for racism. People who say that they don't is just delusional and a liar. And the rest of the country, as I said, have voted differently. So what do you have to make of the topic today?
So I think, like, from my point of view, my local county council, I live in Leicestershire, my local county council my local county council came under control of Reform in the elections last year. Now, to be honest with you, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Okay, so you know, all this fucking horrendous racism, all these fucking rage bait comments, all these fucking rage bait policies, all this nonsense we hear coming out of Reform, it's literally just for the purpose of gaslighting us against each other and making us hate our neighbours. When they actually get into power, they don't actually do anything. They're completely useless. Nothing has changed. So they'll tell you that they'll go and make things better for everyone, and they'll even go and tell you that they'll make things better for the natives. But I'm a native. In fact, I'm a straight white middle-aged man. I mean, I'm literally their primary target, and all I've seen is the services get worse and the taxes go up.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you get from a Conservative Party.
I've seen a lot of comments from Reform Britain areas, Reform UK areas, saying our area has significantly declined in service quality. They've literally said that.
Yeah, absolutely. It has. Yeah, it's literally just the tool by which Reform get themselves elected in this country is by making racists go out and vote for them, by gaslighting them against the neighbours.
Yes.
And it's proper vile. But if you are somebody that's just had a Reform Council elected in your area, then, to be honest with you, nothing changes. It's the same old shit.
Absolutely. Khan, you've got some comments that you want to add?
Yeah, I think soon we'll find out. I mean, now they'll come into power in a lot of these council areas or councils around. We'll see what happens. I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think they'll do anything great. I hope they do for everyone, but I don't think they are going to be able to do anything. I think it's just...
They really don't have the intention to do so. Unfortunately, as I say, English people don't know their culture. They don't know who they are as people. They are trying to pretend or act as if this country is going to unify them, but it's not. It's actually just bringing out the worst in them, which means that they end up turning on themselves. Like, really, this is part of their history, because they brainwash people and then they erase history simultaneously. They are really selling themselves down the road about, and I've seen this for a long time coming. That's why I left the UK 4 years ago. That's why I always encourage anybody who's very aware of the situation to leave the UK. You're seeing more and more people who are actually leaving every year. It's like 500,000 people are leaving because they don't want to be around this negative English mindset. So yeah.
One of my favourite stories from living under Reform for the last year has been that they used to use a British taxi company.
Sorry, 1 minute, Drew, hold that thought, because I want to address the comments. They're saying that I'm running away from the problem. It's not my fucking problem. I'm black. Like, why would this literally be my... Like, you're not Celtic, you can't talk. Yes, I can. It was where I was born. And they're like, oh, so you still can't help.
Celtic.
You see, they understand now that they're going down with the shit. Like, all of you guys in the comment section who are complaining about the state of the country, you're asking me to come back and fix it for you.
I'll tell you now.
I'll
tell you now. I'm Celtic. I'm Celtic descendant. I am, and I'll tell you now. The bastards in the local political party don't give a shit about whether you're Celtic or anything. All they want is to squirrel away money because they're sad, little money-motivated robot men. And that's all they're interested in.
Yeah, they're just interested in everybody who is going to be a drone, everybody who's saying the same stuff now, that everything is cool, everything is fine. Like, this is the thing, like I say, you guys don't realise how many centuries this story has been going on for. It's not a new thing. We've seen it and we've told you, but you didn't want to listen. You didn't want to listen to us, and look at where you are now. And some of you still think that everything is going to be amazing, even if, which is never going to happen, by the way, you're never going to be able to deport all immigrants out of the country and all illegals, as you call them. It's never going to happen.
For fuck's sake, where did you move to?
It's never going to happen, right? It's never, ever, ever going to happen. But you've been sold this fantasy, which you believe, which is actually making the rich richer. This is the reason why, like I mentioned at the beginning about the Industrial Revolution, your own government made you sell your own children into slavery to keep them rich, and sold you into slavery to keep the 1% rich. This is it. This is the whole story.
Fox, do you mind if I tell my story?
Okay, quickly, because I'm going to move to the next person.
Sorry, really quick one. So the local council used to use a British taxi company to ferry around, send children to schools. It turns out that British taxi company was too expensive for the Reform County Council. So what they did is they took on a taxi company that was run by Immigrants.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's cheaper to employ immigrants than it is to employ British natives. Because British natives don't want to work for a pittance. And then what's even funnier is that the people that were being taken to school, the parents of the children, were complaining that the immigrants that the county council had taken on couldn't speak English enough.
This is UK economics for you.
This is just, it's all economic.
Yeah,
it's all economic.
This is how United Kingdom was built, not Britain. Because you got these guys around here, they don't understand what Britain is. Like when you're talking about the Celtic, talking about the original Britain, when England got involved in the situation, turned the country into a business. The UK, Britain is not a country, it is a business. And so when these people at the top always think, right, okay, how can we make more product? How can we make more money out of these people? They're constantly thinking about how they're going to do that. And how they make more money out of you right now is making your government heavily conservative, which has been the plan for many years to make you conservative, because the rich, their greed has no bounds. It has no bounds. So everything they're thinking, okay, let's do privatization, right? Let's privatize some of the public services. So that means that we're actually making more money out of people. We're increasing the prices of public transport. We talked about the privatization of the NHS yesterday. That is also making you spend more money. I talked about the dentist yesterday, how much you're paying in the dentist. We obviously know about the cost of living is always increasing, going up, 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 up. Look at how much you're paying for food. Up, 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 up. And they'll always make some excuse. Oh, the war over there. Russia-Ukraine war has got nothing to do actually with food pricing. Like it really doesn't. But they try to make that as an excuse because, again, whoever runs the economies are the most greediest. And they want to make sure the gap between the rich and the poor is so wide that even the people in the middle don't have any chance of survival either. Like really, you guys need to understand a bit more what's going on.
Well, the Ukraine war had a lot to do with the price of food. Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Everybody who's on the panel, please wait for your time. Please wait, because then we go one at a time up the panel.
You're spreading misinformation right now.
You've literally unmuted twice now. You've been dropped because I was literally talking and I've asked you not to unmute. You had your time up. Let me make it very clear again for those of you who don't understand how I run my live. We do not talk over each other. I am the host here. Of course, I have the ability to do so. But I mute you until it is your time to actually come up on the panel. Phantasma, you're talking about one product. You're talking about flour. How is that making the cost of how is that making the cost of food go up? It was already going up previously. How? Oh, okay, green. Wait. Okay, great. That does not make all of your food go up.
Fox, can I just pop in on the food point?
Just if you wait for a minute, I'm going to move to the next person, Droog, and then you can carry on.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. We've got Rare Stone as well for the next comment. Rare Stone, how are you today? On the panel, you're on Teacup. Are you here, Rare Stone? Rare Stone, we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rare Stone, goodbye. You had your chance. Serial, how are you? You were here yesterday. You all right? Serial on the panel? Serial, I'm going to count you down as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take care, Serial. And now we've got Michael on the panel. How are you, Michael?
I'm not too bad. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, sir. How are you today? Everything okay?
Lovely. Everything is okay. I'm actually from Ireland. I was involved in politics back in Ireland for the Workers' Party, kind of a left-wing group. But the problem, I say, since COVID, things have, government supported local businesses and to kind of keep them going and all that. But then after COVID is cleared up and all that, a lot of businesses then decided, look, we need to make more profit and all that. And then they just used the Russia-Ukraine war, which has been going on since 2014. That war's been going on since 2014, about 8 years before the Russian invaded Ukraine. And then with the war then in America and Iran, and then you have this populists as well, no, the reform, they're just popular.
Yeah.
Kind of populist politicians and all that. They're just in it for themselves.
Exactly.
And they're hypocrites at the end of the day.
Exactly. So you hear, guys, this is the story. I don't know why some people are so attached to this story or the stories that the media push or the government push. Like, everyone's telling you, Phantasma, it's not the case. It's literally not the case. I live in a Muslim country now, right? Our cost of living has not really changed that much. Some things have changed, but a lot of stuff, like, for example, I had my tyre repaired for £7 this week. £7. £7. In the summer, we do have fluctuating prices when it comes to some of our produce. I can pay 60p for a watermelon. What's Russia and Ukraine got to do with my how I'm living? It's not. It's not. So, yeah, you say, Drew, you say 55% of flood inflation is caused by price hikes. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the video of Lidl. Is it Lidl or Aldi? They've got automatic price tags now on their products. They're doing dynamic pricing. I don't know if you guys have seen this. They've literally made it so they can change the price of things. They were trying to say that these price changes were happening overnight, but even some workers were saying, actually, I've seen them change before my eyes in front of you. So you can pick up a product in your basket for £1.99, and then when you get to the till, it could be like £2.19. You need to check it up. Aldi or Lidl dynamic pricing. I think they're doing some changes, which is, honestly, we live in such a dystopian time. It's crazy. Yes, Michael.
And that should be illegal, though.
Sorry, what's that, Michael?
What Aldi are doing, that should be illegal. It should be just safe. That should be illegal, what Aldi or Lidl are doing. Yeah. It should be just fixed price and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the way it always has been.
It hasn't been live dynamic pricing, Droog, of what I'm talking about. I've worked in retail, so I know that prices will change, but not like.
Can I just comment on the dynamic pricing? Do you mind?
Yeah, go on.
Sure.
So I worked in retail for 25 years, and I can tell you that 25 years ago, they had a little team of staff going around each shop. They were called the Price Integrity Team, and there was 4 little old ladies that would go around the shop every day, changing all the prices. And all that the digital labels have done is make that more efficient for the retailer. So while we're familiar with seeing a digital dynamic price now on a shelf edge label, that dynamic pricing has always been there. It's just been delivered by a member of staff as opposed to a digital label.
Yeah. What I meant was like electronic digital pricing, because I know I work in retail and I think a lot of people also know that. But thank you so much for clarifying that. Okay, we've got Leroy on the panel as well. Leroy. Oh, Khan, I think you've got something you want to add before we move to the next person. Khan?
Hi. I just want to say something here about this food, the price of food's going up. Most of the big multinational companies like Nestle, Mondelez, Kerry Foods, a lot of these places who sell the food produce and stuff like that, they own most of the farmers. So they own the farmland or where these products are, where they're produced and stuff, the countries that they come from. So they are hacking up the price themselves, and it's just deliberately telling us, oh yeah, it's this and it's that, when it's not really.
It's if we cannot, as people, use our own minds, that's what's the problem. Like I always say, we are so heavily brainwashed, we are so heavily manipulated. Critical thinking skills, unfortunately, in England and English people do not exist. I always make this comment now recently. Why are we asking English people to have critical thinking skills when they haven't even conquered basic thinking skills? Like they literally have not. They believe everything that they've been told, and especially if it makes them feel good in a bad way, because they're very negative and depressed people. Anything that makes them upset, they feel comfortable in it. As somebody who used to have depression, I can tell you this for sure. You feel very comfortable being depressed, and being outside of that feels a bit scary. It feels alien, and being depressed, as I say, is very normal part of English living, truly. Negativity is normal, because if you're the person that's outgoing and fun and is even wearing colours, they make you seem like you're the crazy one. So even if you're thinking differently, they think you're the crazy one. So it really is important for people to wake up out of the sheep mentality and understand that if you're voting for reform, you're another type of sheep. Like really, you're another type of sheep, fam. Truly, truly. There is actually cures for depression. There really is. I'm really sorry to hear that you actually think there isn't. I always promote as well the NHS. They do great talking therapies. Really and truly try it. It's absolutely fantastic. Contact your doctor, talk about therapy. The first thing they want to do, of course, is give you antidepressants, which doesn't give you a plan to actually come off of them. But try to speak to them or go online and have a referral for talking therapy. For me personally, I'm saved through talking therapy. I always will recommend it. Right, I'm going to go to Leroy now. Leroy, how are you today? Leroy on the panel?
I'm doing all right, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. So
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
doing
the
all
topic
right.
today. The local election results. We've seen that Reform were mainly the party of choice in England. Scotland did not vote for Reform. The SNP got in, and Wales were voting for Plaid Cymru. So England, as I know, as a lot of people know, it was built upon racism. People still don't also understand that simultaneously, and they voted for exactly what they believe. So what do you want to add on top of the topic today?
Yeah, sure. So my wife is English, right? And her entire family votes Reform. They would like to maybe vote Restore the next time, right? Because that would be more up their alley. The problem is, from my perspective, England is by default an Anglo-Saxon country, right? And people who are not of that particular stock shouldn't really be en masse in that country, right? It's perfectly fine. Every other nation wants...
Leroy,
Yeah.
where did the Anglo-Saxons come from?
From northern Germany
Yeah.
and Denmark.
So why did they feel like they should come over and colonize Britain?
Well, they conquered it. You can't really call it colonization at the time. But even then, what is the issue here?
They did.
They took it.
They did technically colonize. Okay, I don't argue semantics. Obviously, you're a colonizer as well, and you have the colonizer mindset. What I do is I educate the people out here who actually do have an ability to understand how terrible this mindset is that you have. Right. So I'm not going to go back and forth with you on semantics of what you think colonization
What are you trying to say here?
and conquering is. I'm not going to do that, right? The fact of the matter is that in Britain right now, like I said, the Scottish and the Welsh have voted not the same way as the English. They don't want to associate themselves with the colonizer because they weren't really colonizing. They weren't doing that.
Of course they were.
No, they were not.
What are you talking about? The Irish and the Scottish were highly involved.
No, they were not. Okay, so the union, how it was formed with England, because none of this shit was happening before the Anglo-Saxons came. All of their fighting was internal. When the Anglo-Saxons came, I mean, Britain historically has, of course, had a lot of wars from other people coming into the country. When the Anglo-Saxons came, because they were invited by the Romans who actually lived there, and they were like, hold on, this land seems kind of cool. It seems better than the Caucasus Mountains we were coming from. So let us just kind of subtly set up and take over the UK. Well, it became the UK. And because they couldn't beat Scotland, they were like, right, if you can't beat them, join them. So that's how the union was formed. And then Scotland and England dragged the Welsh and the Irish along with their bullshit. So, we're very real about history along here. The Welsh and the Irish got dragged to this shit. The Scottish, we're like 50-50. But nowadays, Leroy, it is very apparent in the voting that Scotland, Wales, and the Irish are understanding that English people are the weakest link because they do not belong on the land. They don't belong on the land. It's not their land. Just because you take something, because you're a colonizer, clearly, just because you take something doesn't mean it actually belongs to you. It's temporary, and people are taking that shit back.
Okay, I really like the creativity with your history there. Very interesting.
It's not
but
creativity.
totally wrong, unfortunately.
Okay, Leroy, we don't have misinformation on my platform, right? We don't have that. You're dropped. Immediately dropped. And it's weird the fact that you've got that accent as well. I don't know why you'd be standing up for the English people so much. I don't get it. I don't get why people do that. I mean, I think you said you married an English woman and that's her family. That's embarrassing. I think I heard is that an Eastern European accent? Like I always say, English people hate you. They don't like you. They don't like you. They tried to get you out of the country in 2016. Brexit. They literally said to you, we don't want you here. So please, that's embarrassing. Okay, Serial, you're back. Are you all right, Serial? Yes.
Yeah, sorry about earlier on. I'm at work, so I got a lot of people, got a lot of movement around here, so I can't really come on. And I was trying to get back on, but you just dropped me by then, you know. So, but anyway, I agree with the premise of this live, you know, with a lot of points you raised. Another thing is, I got an interesting question: was Britain ever great? I mean, I remember way back in the 80s, okay, you know, we had you Asian or a black kid in the playground, but the rest of the Caucasus people that were in the playground, they used to marvel about their holidays abroad. Oh, we got this, and now we're in England, we're in shitty England, and there's nothing to do, nothing to eat or anything like that. But now, England's become a great country, a great melting pot. We got a lot of like nice places to go and eat and do things, you know. And now, you know, you got the English people, they become more disgruntled and all that kind of stuff. Do you understand me?
I like
So it's always a...
I like how you said that, because people were only holidaying in the UK because they couldn't afford to go abroad. That was literally why they couldn't go out of the country. They couldn't afford a passport. They could not afford to make the crossing to France or wherever else it is that they want to go. But now going on holiday is a luxury, and so now the people who've earned the money who can afford to travel, they do it. They're not holidaying in the UK, and also it's flipped. And I mentioned this yesterday about how going to places like Centre Parks or whatever it is they're promoting in the UK are so freaking expensive that's why people are voting for reform now, because they can't go anywhere. They can't go anywhere. Like, you know, all of these towns are run down. Like Blackpool used to be the one, run down. DURGS everywhere, falling apart. They ain't going to Clacton no more. How much is it, like fish and chips? 20 quid? I don't know how much you're paying in the UK, but it's not affordable. You can't enjoy yourself in the UK as well. So what kind of life are they living? What kind of fun are they having? No fun. Their fun nowadays is going to kick down doors and beat up people outside hotels and things like that. That's like their idea of fun. Sad. It's sad.
Yeah. Very small-minded, or very small. I see... You know, when I go to Europe, I mean, it's like a breath of fresh air, really. You know, like I was thinking it was on a historical context. When I go there and look at them, and really they do have a lot, you know, their living standards are a lot higher than what they have here.
I don't know, seriously.
You know, I went to Denmark.
I'm just going to interrupt you there, because, you know, things always seem that way from the outside. It's still Europe. They still have a similar type of identity. Yeah. The Western Europeans I'm talking about here, they still have a similar type of ideal. And I've mentioned this quite a few times about the far right moving or increasing in the Western European countries, because they were the ones who were the biggest colonizers. So we can go on holiday and see all the good shit from the outside, but the inside shit still stinks. It still does.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly my thought, actually. I share. Yeah. There's another thing. You know, cost of production. It doesn't... Sometimes it's also about, you know, like the wages that you pay as well. Because, say, for instance, the minimum wage in this country is, I think, third or fourth highest in the world.
Is it?
And that's commendable if you say, but and if you they pass that on to the consumer, and whether they feel that minimum wage increase, we don't even feel it, because it's that cost of living is passed on to the consumer as cost of living. Say for instance, housing cost rise. You know, people were increasing rents by establishing the minimum wage and that kind of stuff, you know. So,
but that's the thing, like,
you know, to say that,
I just had to fact check what you mentioned. Yes, so it's actually the fourth highest minimum wage in the world. But again, it's not relative to the cost of living. Like, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have probably seen the comparisons online, right, about how people were living in the 1950s, and actually not even 1950s, maybe let's say from 1970s, 1960s, 1980s, and how their wages were actually comparable, how they could actually afford housing. Like now, you're lucky if you even own 1% of your property that you live in. Like, you know, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And they will simultaneously try to insult people like myself, right? I'm Nigerian and Grenadian and I was born in Britain. They'll be like, you know, how they say stupid shit like mod huts in Africa. Like, I literally don't know anything about that. We're mortgage free in Nigeria. We all own our own properties. What are you talking about? And I have several
It's exactly like that in Pakistan too. Right now, I'm in Kenya myself, so pick up yourself.
Just 1 minute, Askari. Thank you so much. Askari, I'll bring you in when it's time. So when you're on the panel, please wait because we go in order. But Serial, thank you so much. Stick around. We're going to go now to the next person who is Commander. So, Commander, how are you? Commander on the panel? Yes. Hello. Hello, Commander. Are you having some mic troubles? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, disconnected. Right, we're going to go to Steve, the researcher. How are you, Steve?
Very well, sister, and I hope you're all...
Everything is lovely, thank you. Everything is wonderful. So, I know you're very aware of the election results, and I'm sure you're probably looking at it like this. Oh, is he talking? I didn't hear anything. If you
he was talking.
Oh, I couldn't hear anything. Commander, if you want to come back up again. Sorry, I could not hear a thing. It was like dead.
I think, because at that point the live glitched, I'll be honest.
Oh, okay, my bad. I've invited you to come up, Commander. So if you, there you go. Commander, Steve, I'll wait for...
go to Commander first. I'll wait for Commander to finish, and then I'll come in afterwards.
You can actually hear me. I don't want to.
It's very faint now, I can hear you. Carry on, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, it was really good to result for Scotland overall. But I would also like to point out that unfortunately, we did have a bit of a reform. Now, people were saying, we only have 17 seats, but that's still not great. We do need to there's still a lot to do in that kind of sense. I'm sorry, my words have got all lost because I lost where I was thinking because of the audio situation. But
I am just going to check my connection because I have frozen on that phone. Am I still moving? Can you hear me, see me okay?
It's basically when Commander started speaking, the live glitched. So that's probably why.
Yeah, because
I tell you what, I'll head.
See, I'm stuck.
No, Commander, you're good now. You're good. No, you're good. Fox, I think it's your connection.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah, you're fine here.
Give me 1
But
minute.
you're just...
Carry on.
That's all right. When it comes to, because your post says take racist England outside of the Union, I am a big supporter of the SNP. I support the separation of the Union because as much as we are all kin, as it were, we shouldn't, because Scotland would be the biggest of the bunch between Northern Ireland and Wales and Scotland, and I don't want to be telling Wales and Northern Ireland what to do with themselves. They should have the right to do whatever they want. It's good that us and Wales are on the same wavelength and keeping reform out of power. That's always good. But no, I think for both countries, the best thing, or all three countries, I do apologise, is to go out and do our own thing and allow people to come if they want to come from England, if they want to escape reform, who are what they are, and come to a little bit more of a progressive country. I'm not going to be brazen enough and say Scotland's a utopia in comparison to England. I'm not that cocky.
Yeah, I think it would be very interesting. I mean, look at the way the country would have been if the independence vote went the way that we thought it might have. Well, actually, when I say we, I think me. I was expecting it because I was more aware of the history of the country. But I now see that conversation bubbling up again. And, you know...
It was astoundingly close.
Yes, very, very close, incredibly close. And the same thing with Brexit as well, right? The Brexit vote also was very close. And the funny thing, isn't it funny how they were kind of around the same time, those two votes? So they had very big consequences for the country.
Well, more than that, Scotland was promised, or Scotland was threatened, if they left the UK, the UK would make it its mission to basically keep Scotland out of the European Union. So people were scared, so they voted to stay in the UK, and then the UK, not 3 years later, was like, oh, we're going to leave the EU and completely ignore Scotland's wishes, which is a very common trend. In fact, you were talking about it in a historical sense earlier. Someone was saying how Scotland was is the sidekick of England, and that's probably quite true. But unfortunately, a lot of the wealth that Scotland gained from these horrible actions all over the world basically didn't go into Scotland. It went into the purses of rather rich individuals who were quote-unquote Scottish. And when the money bin dried up, they fled south to London. So it's all just centralised into this mess in the south of England that is now determined to make everyone else's life 100 times worse.
Exactly. I'm really glad that we are all waking up to understand how the country was put together, and the fact that they've called London the central government when it has nothing to do with like the disrespect that England has shown as a country to Wales, Scotland, Ireland is next level. Truly, it's next level disrespect. No consideration for their culture, no consideration for the language, no consideration for them on the land, no consideration for Celtic people and their ethnic roots in the country, like nothing. And I always give this example, and I think sometimes when I talk to Irish, Scottish, or Welsh people, maybe not so nowadays, but at least like maybe in the last 10 years or so, or actually not even 10 years, maybe 5 years, when I would tell them that living in England, you don't get any news from Wales, Scotland and Ireland, they're like, really? And then they kind of think, actually, that does make sense. Do you know what? The most news I ever got about Scotland was when I was in Nigeria. I was watching BBC News in Nigeria, and of course, you know, it's the world news, so it's a little bit more accurate. I learned so much about Scotland. I learned about the solar power, about the wind farms, how Scotland is one of the best countries in the world for renewable energy. I said, this is me in Nigeria watching this TV and learning about Scotland. Like, come on, Scotland. Come on.
Oh no, I have relatives in.
Please, sorry, I've asked you once already not to unmute. If you do it again, you will be dropped. You tried to come up yesterday, Asghari, and I dropped you yesterday. This is your last chance. Don't unmute. There are other people waiting. You have to have respect and patience on my panel, please. Commander, last point.
No, I will make it brief. Basically, I was just saying good luck to the good people, maybe not the best terminology, but the good people of England who are trying their best to go through a very dark time. And if anyone wants to come up here and support independence, I'm not going to object. Please come. Any more votes for independence is a good thing.
Yes. Thank you for those words. And I think that's what it is. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to... The only encouragement I give English people is that if you're awake, you have to stay and fight. It's your country. Like, you're the ones who you came from this ancestry. It's your job. But at the same time, I also say that if you want to leave, go to a country and fucking integrate. Like, integrate.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, my apologies for being... Apologies for being selfish and telling them to go away.
Well, no, I mean, we've heard them tell us to go away for such a long time. And Olive in the comment section says, stop being an Anglophobe. Anglophobia doesn't exist. Stop making up words and terms to make yourself feel better. Nobody's afraid of the English at all.
Actually, let's make it exist.
Oak, please don't talk.
Let's make it exist.
Oak, did you not hear me say not to unmute on the panel? Did you hear me, yes or no?
No.
Okay, well, I'll tell it again. Everybody who comes on my panel, you must wait your turn until you're called, okay? This panel is respectful. Everybody gets a chance to talk. So please don't unmute, because otherwise I will have to drop you. Okay, we've got Steve now. Back to Steve, please.
Fox, I'm very sorry. Can I ask a very quick question?
Yes.
Do you want me to leave to give you space?
No, it's fine. You see, when guys, if you guys don't know, when you still have this box up here, this request box up here, that means that there's still space on the panel. Until it's full, I might say, do you know what, guys, I need to start dropping people. But at this moment, you guys are on the panel. But thank you for asking anyway, Commander. Please still do stay until now. Right, Steve, how are you again, Steve?
Sister, yeah, I'm all good and lovely to see everybody here as well. I'll make my point very concise at this point because I have a lot to say, but I'll wait for a quieter time in the live to actually say it. But my first point, my opening point, and then I'll go over to somebody else, is England has shown that it's racist. We've been saying forever, we've been talking about it, we've expressed ourselves. Now they've proved themselves. Job done.
Exactly. All they do is gaslight us to try and tell us that they're not, but their behavior always shows that they are. I don't know who they're trying to convince. I think they're just trying to convince themselves that they're not, because I know that 50% of them feel bad about it and the other 50% don't give a shit and they love this racism. It's a part of their being and they don't want to change because they're too ignorant and they're too, devoid of actually evolution to actually move on and be more compatible with the rest of us. So yeah, like I say, this problem really is an English problem. It's not anything to do with anyone else. Me personally, you see me on this platform, I'm not affected by anything that English people do or say. I'm very happy to talk about them, and I will talk about them until the problem doesn't need to be talked about anymore. That's why English people will always project onto us who are very real about them. Stop crying, we're not crying, you are. Don't project onto us. Stop acting the victim. We ain't victims. You are. Stop projecting onto us.
Definitely. Yeah. And I'll come back with some other points in a bit, but over to somebody else. Thank you, sister.
Thank you. Bard Lucy is here this morning, guys. Scottish representative.
Hello there and good morning. You look like you're having a beautiful morning there in the country that you have moved to, because England was being very English. So I just want to pick up on a point that's to do with the flag that's in the banner, folks. That is, if you're Irish, okay, and you're going like that's not the UK flag, don't put us back in Britain, okay? That is actually a flag that was used originally to represent a Celtic Union idea, where like we would form like our own mini European Union, like the Norwegians and Scandinavians have, like not like taking over each other's countries, but actually working together in trade and cultural exchange. So I just want to pick up on that point, is like that is not supposed to be a replacement flag for the UK. That is supposed to be like all the independent countries working together and sort of England learning how to be an independent country, which has not been very good at doing for the last, 800 years or, So that's the only point I would say about the banners. That's not supposed to be, and Fox hasn't represented it as, but it's just. If you're,
I didn't make that. I saw it and I loved it.
Oh, Bard, are you English or are you Irish?
Please do wait a minute, big boy. We'll bring you in later. Please hold your question, and then you can ask Lucy some questions after. But I think Lucy's got some other points that she might want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important that we recognise that in Scotland, we have been very enably to England's abuses around the world. There's lots of historical, very complicated reasons why that is. But Scotland is we're more like Harley Quinn to England's Joker than an innocent party. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. Really abused ourselves, but the colonisation process went so far down the route that we got used to colonise other places. So I think we have to acknowledge that Scotland will have to do an awful lot of work once we leave, to kind of form healthy relationships, a bit like Harley Quinn leaving the Joker and having to do a lot of work when she left, and then take up with the lesbian plant witch across the way. So I think it's important to acknowledge that Scotland does have a serious problem. We didn't vote in any constituency seats for reform, but Reform candidates picked up 17 on the regional lists because they had enough votes to be able to do that. So we basically have to work really, really hard, particularly with the older generation. They were also the generation that voted to stay in the UK. We're going to have to work very, very hard to explain to our elders that they can't take us out the Human Rights Act. They can't take us out the ECHR. Their generation are going to be the most screwed if we do. And it's trying to get people who've been very sort of indoctrinated into this ideology of English supremacy that when we get in line with that, we always suffer ourselves and we participate in the suffering of others.
Yeah.
And just to answer the quick question, I am Hiberno-Scottish. So I come from the Irish-Scottish community in Scotland, just to the Irish person who was asking. That's my ancestors were Irish. So for what it's worth, that's there. So, okay, I'm going to yield the space for others. So,
thank you, Lisa. I think it's really important to know everything that you've just said, especially about the fact that Scotland does have a complicated relationship with England, and recognizing that it's taking work from particular communities in the UK to understand. Like I always say, this is about sides. Which side of humanity are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the side that is only about basically being white? Like that's all it is. It's like, is your whiteness more important than your longevity as a person, than your family line, than you being an integrated person in the rest of the wider world? Like, what is your literal priority? Okay, fine. If you want to stick to whiteness, then you're literally going extinct. I mean, we can see the numbers, we can see the statistics, we can see what's happening globally, and the fact that every single person on this planet has a personal responsibility to grow, and to recognize the problems within their family or heritage or ancestry. Us as British people, and especially Black and brown people that have English accents or Scottish accents or Welsh accents or Irish accents, we're waking up to realize how that came to be. That's part of our decolonization journey. And then, of course, it's about the people around us now, people who have actual ancestral ties to the land, being like, right, okay, now I'm waking up to understand how my ancestors got there in the first place. If they got there from other countries or other lands, or they're actually indigenous to the land. That's very, very important. And I don't know if you guys were here, there was somebody who came up earlier who was Eastern European, it sounded like to me. I'm not sure if his accent, maybe it was Polish. First thing he came up and said was, I've got an English partner who's Anglo-Saxon and blah, 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 and you guys should be doing this. Like, Anglo-Saxons don't like you. What the hell? Like, that's crazy. That's really, really crazy. So we're going to move to Askari now as well. Please do stick around as well, Lucy. Askari, yes, my dear. What would you like to add to the topic?
Yes, my sister, pick up yourself. I just came across, and a thing about, like a couple of days ago on your FYP, on election day, first of all. I was trying to pick up yourself, people, yeah, and pick up Steve, myself, my brother, pick up yourself, people, guys. I try to vote, yeah, which I hate to vote, innit? On this morning, yeah, on the 7th, right? Mm-hmm. I tried to take my mum to vote. I didn't even want to vote. My mum, she told me, because I don't even live by myself. I live by myself, right? Mm-hmm. She lives in Norfolk. I live in Hillingdon. Mm-hmm. So she woke me up in the morning. She told me, Mum, can you come pick me up to vote, right? Mm-hmm. I told her, Mum, why do you want to vote? She said, I need to vote, right? Anyways, we went to the nearest, because I went to her area, you know what I'm saying, in Ealing. In North London, Norfolk, in West London, yeah? Mm-hmm. For her to vote, which I hate her to vote, right? Guess what I saw, yeah? A lot of reform voters trying to hide, I don't know, freedom of speech anyways. Certain voters, they're trying to finesse some hijabi women outside the place, reform voter, trying to tell them, vote and reform. Me as a kid, you know what I'm saying, who was raised in West London, for me to watch that was stupid, And big up Steve, the researcher, which was just told you this country is getting worse, which is very, very racist. I don't know how to say it.
It's not getting worse. The English are just showing them.
It's very racist. They're trying to show like, I'm an African. I'm from Kenya, you know what I'm saying? I'm from Kenya originally. Mm-hmm. I'm a Somali Kenyan. And I love where I'm from, my ancestors, and where I'm from, because I know my history. And that's why if you check my history, if you check my picture, you'll see where I'm from. If you check my channel, people. But anyways, why I told my mom don't to vote is because of this, because she's a Muslim physically. Meaning, physically, you could see she's got hijab on, right? And I got a daughter, right? And even Stevie knows, I got Irish ancestor, meaning like, and my kids are half Irish. Pick up yourself. My kids are half Irish. So, and number two, sis, anyways, why I came across your page, anyways, the other day, because you made me smile, you know what I'm saying? Because you said something, but a lot of people, I think they came across the channel. Anyways, this country is getting worse. I'll tell you why it's getting worse. They're trying to take away our freedom of speech, freedom of rights, which we had daily, so-called daily, you know what I'm saying? But me and Steve have been arguing about this for the last 5 years, I think over 6 years, other channels from YouTube and that.
It's important to raise that part there about the freedom of speech.
Number two, sister.
I think just 1 minute, I'm going to just pick up on your point about the freedom of speech part. The right wing and reform voters and anyone from that ilk, of course, have been crying about freedom of speech being taken away for a few years now. We're very aware that they're just trying to be, they're upset at their freedom to be racist as being removed. That's what they're upset about. We, of course, as black and brown people have just been always fighting for freedom of speech. Like we've always been fighting to be heard. Since white Western Europeans decided to make themselves known to the rest of the world, because we didn't know anything about you lot. You came and introduced yourselves with pew-pews and grape and disease and all these things. And ever since that time, you've been suppressing our voice. Beverly, if you're going to call me racist, please spell it correctly. What's your rastis? Your rastis. Beverly. Beverly, I'm going to take 1 minute just to call out Beverly in the chat. Beverly, girl, you got a British flag and an English flag in your profile. You've written 2 words there, and both of them are spelled incorrectly. Your is Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Racist is spelled R-A-C-I-S-T, Beverly. 2 words and 100% failure. You got a U grade. U grade, Beverly. Beverly. Oh, and you can spell and yes correctly, because those are 3 letters each. Is that your limit, Beverly? 2 words at a time and 3 letters maximum each time. Beverly, this is why these conversations are over your head. You don't know what we're talking about here, Beverly, at all. You don't know what we're talking about at all, Beverly. And you're just here to be like, oh, no, I'm going to just do the copy paste. And yet I can't even copy paste correctly. Beverly, embarrassing. Right, Ascari, yes. Yes, the last points that you were making. Ascari.
That's the point, yeah. And first of all, I know you're addressing something. Let me tell you something, first of all. Black people, and I'm talking about South Africa, we can't be racist, so-called racist, yeah, because I've done over like at least 2,000 hours of study of that topic.
We don't need to. Let's make that
real quick. Right? I know. It's going to be long.
Let's make the point real quick because you're picking that up, right? I'm going to make it real quick because we're going to move to the next person who's just. The topic of racism. When you call a black person a racist, again, it is white people you're just projecting onto. White people created race and racism. White people, you don't know this. Open a freaking book. Open a book, understand what racism is, understand why you created it. We were all living out in the world as melanated people, right? When you white people came along, you decided to group people and put people in a hierarchy because you were so insecure, you wanted to put people at the top. You're projecting now in the comment section because you're racist and you don't like people talking about racism. You don't like your own racist behaviour. I won't stop saying Scotsman. I won't stop saying white people because it is white people. Why are you upset? You wanted to be called white, so we call you white. You asked for it. You're a white person, Scots. You're a white person, right? Talking about racism doesn't make us racist. Black and brown people don't have the ability to be racist. We don't have the structural power to do it. We can be prejudiced, but also we have the history to not like white people for certain things. I don't have that kind of feeling in my heart. You guys will know if you're around here often. I talk about Western Europeans who happen to be white. Mainly, that is what I talk about. But then I talk about structural whiteness. I talk about how white people or white narcissism has been able to do certain things throughout the whole entire world. I have a problem with whiteness as a structure, not white people. I don't give a shit about you. I get annoyed at English people. That's why my topics are about England. I'm specific because you guys don't know how to be specific. You group everybody in group. You group everybody because you're the racist ones. You say, oh, all black people are this, all Muslims are this. Muslims can be any color. But in your mind, you think all Muslims are brown because you don't have the ability to separate. You group. Your medulla oblongata, your frontal lobe, not developed. That's why you communicate and that's why you project onto us just these random words. They're random words to you, but they're words that have meaning to us. When we say you're racist, it's because you've done some real terrible, disgusting stuff to humanity. That's why you're called that word. If you use the word, you're just looking ridiculous. Because if you think you're experiencing racism, again, it's embarrassing, really and truly. And we're going to move to the next person, Asghari. Hold on to your thought and we'll come back to you. Uncensored facts. We're going to go to you. Uncensored, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. So one thing I did want to talk about was in terms of like racism and whatever, it's really, like the way the far right try to Trojan horse their racism. It's just really, unique because I take a perfect example is London, for example. They say, oh, Sadiq Khan's London has fallen, blah, blah, blah. It's now turned into an Islamic caliphate or whatever, and okay, Sadiq Khan has been a decent mayor. Okay, that there's no denying that he's been a decent mayor. He's won the election 3 times. Okay, but let's be honest, most of the hate Sadiq Khan gets are from people that live all the way in Cornwall or some other countryside place in London, or even people from America. The last time they stepped foot in London, Michael Jackson was still alive.
Can I just add something to this? Something really, really interesting.
Yeah.
In 2018, when New York was under winter lockdown, which meant that crime rates automatically decreased, like murder rates, yeah? So London was, at that time, it had 18 stabbings in in a week, yeah?
A little bit. Serial, just censor your language a little bit for TikTok.
All right.
So this kind of topic.
So, around about 18 people were unalived, in the space of 2 weeks in London. And so now, since the records began, London's crime increase became high for that specific amount of time for 2 weeks when New York was under winter lockdown, yeah? And you know what people were writing? When people were named like, had Christian names, yeah? They weren't...
Just say white people, darling. Just don't.
No, hold on.
Beverly, love. Beverly.
Hold on.
Relax a minute.
Kate,
someone else is telling a story, Beverly. Just wait a minute.
Well, don't back over words. Say it as it is, because that's what I do. I don't
everybody, just wait a minute, because Beverly feels like her voice is more important than everybody else's. I'm just going to let Beverly have her minutes to talk.
Lack of self-control.
Katie.
I'm not a troll, darling. I'm not a troll, so don't call me a troll. I have opinion just the same as you do.
1 minute, please. Everybody
exactly the same. I still have an opinion as much as you do, okay? And racism is being discriminated. It's discrimination. It doesn't matter about colour. It's about anything. You're just bringing it up, looking at, you're pathetic. You're just a shit stirrer, girl. Shit stirrer. But there's only one thing, you don't say the right words. You don't like the white people because I've got a flag. And the reason why I put the flag up is because I'm not allowed to fly the flag. Because it insults you. The minority.
Beverly,
what a shame.
Beverly, you're talking to me as if you know me. I don't have any opinions about the English
flag.
You
brought up my flag. I heard you say about a Polish person saying that white people don't like them either, the British. Yes, we fucking do. They're fantastic workers, more than what you're doing.
Did you hear that, guys? Did you hear what Beverly just said? Did you hear what Beverly just said? Right? What Beverly just said was that the Polish.
That's what you are. You're spreading hate.
What Beverly has just said. For some reason, I can't mute her loud enough. Beverly has just said that Polish people are good workers. Not that they're good people, that they're kind, that they're friendly, that they're welcoming.
If you want me to explain it, I've got Polish in my family, you dickhead.
Slave master who thinks that people only have value because of what they work as.
Part of the Polish, you silly woman.
Beverly, can you put your teeth in because I can't translate this?
I am part.
Can you put your teeth in, please, Beverly, because I can't translate this.
For some reason, I can't mute her, so I've just had to drop her. Right? I've just had to drop her. Like I've said,
just before I finish, she interrupted me.
1 minute, please. I'm talking now. Beverly came up here with her rant talking about the English flag. Nobody cares about the English flag. No black and brown people give a shit about the English flag at all. It is you that care about the English flag. And when you look at all the footage, who is taking down the English flags? White people, other English people are taking down the flags. Go and find me a video, any video, tag me in any video of a black or brown people or anybody who's actually taking down the flags. Beverly, that's your homework. Once you stop drinking, go and find me a video of any of us lot talking about your silly flag. We don't care about your flag. You care about your flag. Go and put it up. But the fact is, Beverly, is that you're not patriotic. We know this is performative because you weren't doing this before 2 years ago. I ask every single time on this panel, and when did you start flying your flag? Oh, I'd start doing it recently because people told me not to. No one's told you not to fly your flag, ever. You didn't want to fly your flag because the National Front had association with it when they were beating up brown people since the 1950s. You didn't want to fly it because you didn't want to be seen as racist. Now you want to take that flag back while being racist by trying to say that you're not racist. Beverly, man. The country has done a number on you because you spend more time drinking than actually understanding the conversation, Beverly. This is the problem. You spend so much time drinking. And do you know what alcohol actually does to the brain? I already called you out for your poor spelling. 2 words that you couldn't even get right. And now you come up here talking like blah, 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 which is what was to be expected based on what you were saying in the comment section. I knew exactly what you were going to say up on the panel. And you can come back up, Beverly. But the fact is, I couldn't mute you. I couldn't mute you because you were just talking and talking and talking and talking and not listening. You did not value the Eastern Europeans. 2016 Brexit vote. You all said, send the Eastern Europeans out of the country. We do not want them here anymore. You said that. You did not like that they were taking your jobs. You don't like that anybody is taking your jobs, regardless of what skin color they're in, because you're, guess what? Racist. You're racist people. And I feel sorry for the Eastern Europeans every time. And I always remind them, hey, they don't like you. The English don't like you. They don't like themselves. They don't like anybody. Don't think that they're on your side, because the first people they're going to sail down the river again is you. They're going to sail you down the river. That's how it's happened historically. That's how it's going to happen presently. You just asked me for proof. I just told you the 2016 Brexit vote. Go to my other account. I don't know if it's actually pinned on my page, but I talk a lot about this subject. I've done my research. You guys always say, oh, Fox, you're always crying, you're this. Like I say, don't project onto me. I can talk about these things historically easily because it's not my bloodline. It's not my family. I can talk about it. You're the ones who are crying because this is your story. You've been told that everything was all cool, but it's not. It's diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. So it's for you to actually go and educate yourself so you know what you're talking about. So you don't come up on these panels and embarrass yourselves. Because you're embarrassing yourselves in front of people. You're not doing this at home. You're not doing this with some random person in the shop. You're doing this on TikTok where we have crowds of people that come and see you embarrass yourself in a big way. It's embarrassment. Right, we've got Sierra on the panel now as well. Sierra, how are you? Sierra at the top there. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are
Good
you?
afternoon. I'm not too bad, thank you. A great panel. I'm just disappointed that she had to be dropped down. I would have loved to have a really good conversation with her, but I know I wouldn't have really got anywhere.
Would have been possible.
Well, yeah, maybe not. I am actually going to drop. I really just wanted to speak to her, but thank you for inviting me up.
No problem at all. So yeah,
Box, I just wanted to finish up, yeah? You know what, the point I was trying to make, you know when the crime was risen at that particular time, it was because of Sadiq Khan's Sharia law. Yeah, it's gone to work, yeah? And now we got 80 unalivings last year and the year before, yeah? So the murder rates dropped back to the levels of when Boris Johnson was in mayorship of London, yeah? Which is extremely low for a big city, yeah? Oh, so why is he not marveled? Why is his Sharia law not marveled at right now? That's what I don't see.
Absolutely. Yes, good points. If the UK, or at least English people and Londoners, think they're under Sharia law, how come their crime rates have reduced? I've moved to a Muslim country. A lot of you guys know this. Crime is like non-existent where I am. It is so safe. It is so peaceful. Men respect women. Women are safe. Like really, it's night and day. Living from where I live now, I breathe so much easier than when I live here, though. So much easier. Adoy,
you moved to a mud hut. You moved to a mud hut, according to them. You moved to a mud hut.
Of course they say that. Like, it's strange because my mud hut still has 4 walls and a group of stairs and a swimming pool out the back and a driveway with a car and a sea and mountain view. So my mud hut is still very comfortable and cozy. Thank you very much. It's cool in the summer and it's warm in the winter.
Do you know, this is the conversation I was having with my Ghanaian colleague. I mean, you know, the houses that they build is like palaces, right? It's exactly like we have in Pakistan, big houses. So one day,
even Kenya, so well, even Kenya.
It's same throughout Africa, Arab world, amazing. You know, I went to Pakistan, right? So I had these Western friends of mine, like, you know, Caucasians, and they phoned me up and they said, "Is that your house?" I go, "Yeah," but I was thinking that they were going to say something bad. They go, "Your house is huge." So they said your house is huge.
Last year, I went to my grandmother's house here in Kenya, Nairobi. Yeah, I swear, don't forget about swimming pool, bro. She's got like a top building here. I didn't even know that. And African people live like this. So when we hear about we live in a third world country,
my nan, right?
Mad.
My nan
That is mad. How we live in a third world country? That,
my nan,
I know for a
Nigeria,
fact, Africa, especially Kenya, is a first world country.
Yes, it is. My nan in Nigeria, she owns a tower block of flats. She also has how many apartments? 3 apartments. My family go and stay in the apartments. She also has another property in another part. Yeah, my nan worked and she got her land and she put the buildings up, the property up. And like I say, even me and my family, we've got our property game up. Like you have to get your property game up, especially if you've got ties to your ethnic land. Get your property game up. Really.
I'm ready.
Interesting.
I'm ready to be ready to move back tomorrow. But you know what it is? I got kids here, you know what I'm saying? I got kids here with mixed race, you know what I'm saying? Iris. Anyways, so back to the point I was trying to mention earlier. An African man who knows his history, who studied himself, who knows where he's from originally, as an African member of society, you know what I'm saying? We can't be racist. I'll tell you why. Go to the British Museum right now, yeah, and check my history right there. You look came and took my pharaoh's nose. You know what I'm saying? You took our nose because you want to hit your facts. Pharaoh, yes, he was a black man. It was us. And big up the Nigerians, you know what I'm saying? Big up Africa. Africa unite. Africa will be one. And we're already ready anyways. Africa's not anyways. Keep calling the third world country. Go to Africa and find out. And go to Nairobi.
Bro. We gotta stop seeing these dreams. You know, when we see these tall buildings, you know, there's Pakistanis, Muslims, Africans, we have this false notion about these countries. So when you move here, the brother's gonna guide you to your house, and he's gonna say to you, "That's your house. Am I gonna be living in that?" He's gonna say, "No. You're gonna be living in this small space within that small house, bro." You know, and
as part of the story, and what I feel is that, I mean, we've got bragging rights, black and brown people. We've literally got bragging rights. And in the UK, they always try to make you think that you have to be humble, you have to be quiet about your achievements, because they have so much jealousy that lives within them, that even within their own people and their own culture, they get upset when somebody excels. For me, I love bragging about that shit. You guys have seen me on this platform a few times, and if you know what I do, I'm brag central. And the guys that always come in the chat and tell me about my mud hut, I literally show them my house, and you see how they start crying. Like, literally, they do not like to see us succeed. And they will always try to say that we're still back in the times that they want to believe that we're in, because it's part of their propaganda. Black and brown people, once you started selling and they come to you, because the thing is, I'm not doing this because I feel like I need to brag, right? I'm not genuinely that kind of person. But these English people, when they say this shit, I say, well, you know, this is what my place looks like. Show me yours now. They run fast. They are the ones that have to be humbled, not us. We humble them.
Exactly. You know, when there was a furor in Kensington about the Arab young boys pushing Ferraris and all these cars, yeah? They were saying, oh, they're revving up our roads and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you know, like us black people and brown people, we live life to the max. I mean, when we started growing up, we seen these Mercs, young boys pushing BMWs and all that kind of stuff. We never seen English do that, you know, young English do that. They've been like in Ford Fiestas and all that kind of stuff, you know. Like, we live life to the max. I tell you that straight up. And go to our backyards back home. We live in palaces, man. We only here for the money. We want to make money. We want to build nice houses back home and live life to the max. That's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. Come on, man. And even if, because I've seen in the comment section, right, they have this assumption that every black and brown person that has a Merc or Mercedes was part of the DURG like thing, right? That's what they always think. But like I think you just said that, maybe I missed that part. Back home where we're from, that's what we're driving back home where we're from. Even if the car is so many years old, if it's like in the 90s or early 2000s, we're still driving the Mercedes and the BMWs back in our motherlands. It is part of our culture to really try to work hard and succeed. Why are you telling me to go back home? I've literally told you I don't live in the UK. I doy. I don't live in the UK.
Trying to get out,
I don't live in Europe.
I'm trying to get out of this country.
I've seen Mercedes get used as a tractor.
Is 4x4s. In our cultures, even the country I've moved to, the Muslim culture, I've seen the progress of the people in the last 4 years that I've been here. They are driving crazy good cars. While you English people are getting further and further behind. I always talk about your rich list. There's only, I think, is it 4 English people in the top 20 richest people in the UK. There's no Scottish, there's no Welsh, there's no Irish. There's only 4 English people in the UK in the top 20 richest people, right? So you can't start talking about us living in poverty and shit like that when you literally struggle to pay your internet bill every month. Like, literally, shut the front door. Shut it. You're on a struggle bus with no destination. You're literally on, actually, the destination is the breakdown yard. The bus is going into retirement.
There's an interest.
Hey, folks, I got a job, you know, because I'm at work here. So, you know. All right, have a good day, everyone.
See you later, Serial.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ascari, Ascari, you got so much to say. You kept them muting, and now you've put yourself in a balaclava for some reason, or that's your background picture. Oh no, that's your head. We can see your actual head.
Usually, that's what I rap. It's my rap name. So Anyway, you see my face now. I want to show these so-called low IQ people in society, so-called reform voters, yeah? Back to your point I'm trying to make earlier, sister, yeah? Africa is amazing. Like my grandmother, she built, I just came back like last year, yeah? And I'm supposed to go back this summer, soon, yeah?
So you're talking about Kenya, right? Kenya.
Yeah. If you check my channel right now, yeah, I just posted a video. Imagine, Mombasa, Kenya. If you ride, that's a river, right? If you ride right there, there's so-called YT people there that's sleeping down here with a Somali flag, yeah, pirate flag, yeah. There, yeah. Anyways, enjoy. There's hella buildings, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about skyscrapers, yeah. Empty, you know what I'm saying? It was built there 2000 and what? Or was it 2000 and COVID-19 time, innit? Some multi-million guy, Somali, I think, yes, he's a Somali, Arab Somali, wherever it is, he's an African, you know what I'm saying? Not Arab, like 100% black. African, you know what I'm saying? A Somali multi-billionaire, trying to build a house, but he's got like, they told him, don't build it. Check my channel, yeah? There's hella estates, buildings, like 20 skyscrapers, 20 floors, just empty.
At the same time though, like I'm a bit protective over our continent because, and the funny thing is, and I don't know if you've seen this in comment sections, people are like, it's still not great in Africa because we don't want the colonizer coming again. You know,
no.
We don't want the
Just why do we have to take?
What they did? 1 minute, yo. I'll introduce you. Yo. Just bear with me a second because Askari is still talking. Go on.
That's just anyways, but we don't care about no colonizer, but since we suffer enough. We African people anyways. We're lions. You know, have you been to? Like look. The colonizer go to my land, yeah, Kenya, Masamara. They have to use a car to go there. Us African, we walk there with the lions. The lion might snip me. The lion is sugar me himself. Well, I'm sugar of a star. Wildebeest, people. African. They are number one on our life as African people.
Thank you so much, Askari. Right, we're going to move to Yo now. Yo, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm alright. How about you?
I'm very good, thank you. So this is actually the topic that we're talking about, the local election results. England obviously voted very differently. They voted for what they stand for and what they believe in. Scotland and Wales, they vote very differently. And they've also asked, well, it seems like conversations for independence are coming back around as well. So what would you like to add to the topic today?
So first of all, I'm just looking at your thing and it says, you're saying about taking England. Why are we taking England out of the Union flag? And second of all, why is the Irish flag in there when they're not even part of the UK?
Bard, Lucy, you want to answer that one? I think you had something you wanted to add anyway, generally. Lucy? Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. So first off, the flag that Fox is displaying is not ever meant to be the flag of the UK. That was made by someone who was talking about an EU-style union, like customs and trade and cultural exchange organisation between Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Basically,
because they're Celtic. Yeah. I know.
Because they've got a common culture. There is another flag which includes Brittany and Cornwall in the flag. Fox could easily have put that flag up as well. It's just that was the one that she found this day. Okay, so it's nothing. The other thing is, okay, that a large amount of people, what a Farage government actually means, okay, or the prospect of one means is that Irish unity is going to be pretty much a foregone conclusion. Scotland is gearing up for a massive fight with Westminster over a second referendum. And Wales, in about 5 years' time, is going to be doing the same. So it's basically about what that flag represents up there, that visual representation actually represents, is England being an independent country for the first time in 800.
Right. So I think it's regarding like when you were saying about the EU, right? Do you think that if all constituent nations of the UK were independent and all of them joined the EU apart from England, do you think that would pressure England to join the EU? Because effectively all the borders around England would be EU zone. So they can't stop people from coming in. So do you think that would push England towards the EU?
Okay, mate, do you know what the EU actually does? I'm really confused that so many years after Brexit.
I do know what the EU does, yeah.
Right, okay. So basically, you can't, you don't have to rejoin the EU. You can join the European Economic Area, like Norway and,
Single market and that. Yeah, I know.
But you would still have to abide by the free movement rules because that's one of the ways in which trade works. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
What England is doing is effectively declaring sanctions on itself. Okay, by having this stupid, and all it's done is it's made a few white English men incredibly wealthy. That's all it's done. Nigel Farage.
He's got a Danish passport. So I expect people don't talk about Scandinavia if you don't know what we're talking about.
I think we should be in the EU. There's nothing to fight about. I think we should be. I think we're stronger together. Look at obviously the other countries that are bigger than us. We could be leading Europe with France and Germany. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, that's not the case, is it?
How about England stops trying to lead anyone and just learns how to exist in the world without being someone's boss? How about that? Okay, it's this idea that England has to lead everything, and you're crap at it. And the English government, the Westminster government, is objectively a terrible financial manager. A lot of England is completely underdeveloped now. Okay, because all the money and brains and everything got sucked into London. You've underdeveloped a lot of England, which is why, Bev's here on the lash at 11 o'clock in the morning, rubbing two brain cells together, and the rest of it's alcohol poisons.
We get a lot of drunken English people on these panels, truly.
Well, I see that you always say things about white people though, Fox, and English. But what is your issue with English people in particular?
Do you hear my accent?
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean you're English.
Exactly.
Well, you're not English.
Exactly.
You can be British by passport, but you're not English because English is an ethnicity. English is a people.
Exactly.
Right?
So push your mind a little bit further. Why do I, as a black woman in the UK, have this accent? Why?
Because you grew up in England, right?
Why did I grow up in England? Why am I here? Well, I'm not there anymore, but why was I
I don't know. Take it, were you born in England?
Yeah. Why?
Right, well then your parents were in England at the time of your birth, that's why.
Yeah, and then why were they there?
I don't know, you tell me.
No, you do know. Why does anybody come to the UK? Why?
Because England's got a lot better quality of life compared to Africa and the Caribbean and stuff like that. That's why people come.
How did that happen, yo? How did that happen? How did that happen?
How? Sorry, just because he was talking. I don't know. I just think that we're industrial revolution. Industrial revolution's a really big one.
Asghari, you keep
because we're better. We're better at it. We were better at it at the time.
Better at what?
Well, we're better at creating things. We're better at making things. We led a very big empire, which is a good thing. I think that it put England in the world map. I think that empire was very good. Yeah, it had its bads, 100%. But but at the end of the day,
people are
at the end of the day, British Empire, that's a good thing, mate.
People are laughing at you now in the comment section. The thing is, I'm trying to push you.
People can laugh as much as they want. I don't mind.
I'm trying to push you, and I don't normally do this, but I'm trying to push you a little bit further, right? To actually get you to think a little bit bigger than what you've been told, right? Tell me.
No, I don't mind if people laugh. That's okay.
Yo, stop a minute. Yo, stop. You mentioned the Industrial Revolution, right? Is your family line part of the Industrial Revolution? Was your family alive during that time? Have you got ancestry?
Yeah. But I'm not fully from England. I am from England, obviously, but I have some family who come over from Eastern Europe.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So were they around during the Industrial Revolution, your family line, or are you more newer?
When was the Industrial Revolution? And you tell me and I'll tell you.
It's your history. You're either there for it or you're not.
He doesn't know. Well, I'm guessing so, yeah. I'm guessing
You
so,
don't
yeah.
know. You don't know.
Well, I don't know when it was. I don't know, mate. I'm guessing there was, yeah. I'm guessing so.
When did your family come to the UK?
So most of my family's been in the UK, but it's only my nan's granddad who come from Ukraine because of the war, like World War II. He was a refugee, so he come over. But apart from that, everyone else in my family's English.
So then they.
So my great granddad.
Yeah. So then they would.
That's
have lineage while the Industrial Revolution was around. If it's longer than that.
Yeah, it is, because everyone, so on my dad's side, everyone's completely English. On my mum's side, her dad's side, so my granddad, he's completely English. My nan, she's half English.
Okay.
So, yes, there would have been, because I've been a generator, when I did Ancestry DNA, it's gone back like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Okay then, so let me ask you, I'm going to ask you a sort of a different question, but related question.
Go on.
How old are you, first of all?
22.
22. Okay, then you're not old enough to understand a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. Because even I was going to bring up, which I always bring up, is the 2016 Brexit vote, which you wouldn't even been old enough to vote for.
No, I would have been 12 at that time,
you would have been 12. And you probably weren't here when I was discussing this, and I discuss it quite a lot, whether I talk about Eastern Europeans and what English people think about Eastern Europeans. You know about
I don't have a problem with it.
You wouldn't have a problem with it, or you shouldn't have a problem with it. But I'm going to start encouraging Eastern Europeans now to do this research for yourself. Google Eastern Europeans Brexit. That's all you need to put in. Just those two phrases, and you see exactly the country that you're trying to prop up. If you're going to do some justice, right? Like I said, I got an English accent. My lineage only begins from me. I'm the first person to be born in Britain, so I understand that I don't have a tie to the land. My loyalty is going to be to my ethnicity, which is Nigerian, and to my mother's side. Unfortunately, she's from the Caribbean. What does that mean? The colonizers got to her, right? So I'm going to understand my lineage from there, and I'm going to understand my lineage from there, from both sides, and understand why I'm in the UK, right? I'm going to understand that part, but I'm not going to also then at the same time be like, English people, yeah. You've got an Eastern European lineage. You have to understand what the English think about that side of you. Because like I say...
So let me put it in perspective. I know what you're saying. It's like, thing is me personally, I am English through and through, but I agree with what you said, like lineage, like down the line, yeah. But I think when my great-granddad came, he got captured by the Nazis, and then the British set him free. Right. So basically, he was in Poland at the time. He's from a place called Lviv.
I don't need to know the backstory. I don't need to know.
No. Just hear it. You will, because it makes sense. It makes sense. It's very short.
I don't need to know the backstory. Okay. Nobody here needs to know the backstory. What I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I've taken a DNA test. Yeah, I have.
Listen. Nowadays in England. Mm-hmm. They're very much about where you come from. Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
So when they get into conversations like this with you and they find out that you've got some Polish in you, believe me, it's not going to be as smooth sailing as you think it's going to be because you look white. Like truly, you're not.
Yeah, but I don't look any Polish or Eastern European whatsoever. Like I'm overwhelmingly English.
You can blend in with the other racists. Nice one. You can blend in. That's a nice little bit of camouflage you got going on there. But these conversations still exist, yo. The country that the UK is becoming very fast now is that it's literally picking apart every single person who has some other ethnicity besides Anglo-Saxon lineage. That is literally...
No. I see what you're saying, but I also think, like, to an extent, because, like I said to you, that my great-granddad come, 1940s or whatever, there's, to an extent, it's one ancestor, generations and generations, generations ago. So I don't think anyone's going to care,
convince other English people of this, by the way. You're trying to convince... Like, I'm English enough. You can't...
No, I am. Yeah, of course I am.
Exactly. I am English, guys. Like, My Polish side, my Eastern European side was quite some time ago, guys. Accept me, love me for who I am.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you.
That's what you sound like.
Yeah, it's because that's what you're trying to make me think. But I'm just telling you, like, at the end of the day, I am. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. You want me to sit there and say that. Yeah,
Yes,
go on.
Amanda. Yeah.
Right. So I live in a very, very pasty white community. There's not a lot of ethnicity around me when I was younger. It's starting to change now, thank God, but it was quite pasty. So I am very, very Scottish. There is not a lot of anything else in me. I am. My mum's side is a bit more Irish. I think Lucy had a nice term for it, and I would love to get that name because I'm going to use it all the time now. But basically, I've been in situations where when I've walked into a group of English people talking, and I've started talking, and because I am very, like, as I said, I'm very, very what you would call white, but they already were talking down to me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like, they were, we were talking about mud huts earlier for people who were from Africa, which is a very cruel thing to say. But I've been in conversations with English people where they say that Scottish people don't have internet. We still live in huts, in little, in thatched roofs, and do nothing but do unspeakable things to sheep, which is the same as you could do to the Welsh as well. Eventually, as time goes on, if these reform voters get what they want, they will narrow down what counts as pure enough for them, and the first to go will be Eastern Europeans. Then it will be people from the mainland of Europe. Then it'll be the Irish, then it will be the Scots, then it'll be the Welsh, and then it'll be anyone not from the south of England. Yes. The purity, that's the problem. That's why white people are quote unquote going extinct. Not because white people aren't still intermingling with other people. They do. It's just because the purity rules of whiteness is so particular that you can't keep that. It's not sustainable. Eventually, you are going to be treated worse because if you tell someone you're Polish, and that's just a fact. No, but you're not now because you don't get it brought up, and because these racist people have quote unquote better targets that they can point to, and eventually, if things keep going the way they are, and they do it all the time. As I said, people will. If I say I'm Scottish down in England, they will say, you're just you wear nothing but skirts. You eat.
But the thing is, I think you guys all make out like every English person is going to say, "Oh, you're a Polish person." They're not. That's just not fucking true, is it? Like,
that's not.
It really isn't true. Saying. But that's what you're all trying to make out.
If I may say something,
English. That's the point. That's it. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to prove. I'm just telling you, I am. That's literally all I've said. I'm not shouting. I'm not getting aggressive. I am English. Yes, I have lineage from Eastern Europe. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that I'm Eastern European because I'm overwhelmingly English.
Yeah, but you're not actually.
That's all I'm saying. That is it.
No one. Right. Okay. Right. None of us here have an issue with that lineage. What we're trying to say is that English have.
No, of course. Right? So no. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Just 1 minute.
Yeah, I like to say something. I lived in this country since I was 2 years old. I'm 62 years old now. Okay, grown up here. That's all we've ever had. I'm European. I come from Sicily originally, and all we've ever had is racism. But who is pure English? No one. Don't forget, the English language used to be German.
Yeah. I know that. Yeah.
Well, you know that then.
Yeah, I know that we descend from Scandinavians and Germans. I know.
Just before you carry on, Tony. Just before you carry on, Tony. I just want you to spend a little bit more time listening, okay? So please don't unmute yourself for a minute. Thank you, Human. You're saying yeah, and you're very much on the wanting to speak a lot. We just want to try and help you with something, right? We're just trying
I can't help it. It's the ADHD. I can't help him, mate. I'm very reactive. That's what it is.
Also, I think a lot of us now here are ADHD. We were on the neurodiverse scale. We understand that anxiety takes over, but sometimes we do actually have to try and control some of this. And of course, we're talking to you directly about certain things. So I know that might make you feel like you need to maybe defend, but we're not attacking you. Like, truly, we're not attacking you here at all. We're just trying to get you to see where the country is going and how it actually will end up affecting you eventually. Because like Commander said it perfectly, way better than me, very, very perfectly about what is eventually going to happen. Because even in the comment section, Eve, I think you said it, good to see you, it is back to 1930s Germany where this stuff was literally happening. How pure are you as an Anglo-Saxon, right? So we want to make sure that you guys who can understand the conversation aren't blindsided by anything that's coming. We have the ability to have foresight to the issue, right? We know what's going to happen. Like I said, I left the UK 4 years ago. I know how it was I knew what was going to happen, but now we're getting into the very finite, minute points of how this stuff is actually going to become a big problem, the small stuff. So just bear with us, just take some time just to listen. And Tony's got some things to say as well. Tony, continue, please.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here since 1966 in this country, okay? And all we've had as Europeans is racism. And that is the truth. And what Joe's got to understand, okay, the Romans was here, 600 years? So who is pure British? There's no one pure British. No one at all. Even that St. George flag that you guys fly, where did it come from? Originally, do your research. Emperor Constantine of Rome. Then the Crusaders used it. And what did the English do? They stole it and said, some 2-year-old lad, he stepped on a lizard and I made him a saint, saying he killed a dragon, which dragons never existed. Even the lions, where did they come from? They came from France. They're French. And the problem is the UK.
Hold on a minute. There were lions in Britain but it was like 300,000 years ago.
I mean the actual symbol of the lions. You know they use the lions, symbol of the lions. They're actually French. I did all that at school. They're actually French. Every time a French princess married a British king, they gifted them a lion. So the reason the lions are French.
From Africa, yes.
No, I mean the symbol. You know, when you go to London and you see the lions, statue of the lions.
Yeah, from Africa.
That's what I'm on about.
From Africa.
But I'm on about the symbol of the lions.
Oh, just the symbol. Just the symbol.
The symbol. The symbol.
Just the symbol. Nothing to do with the animal itself.
No, not the animal in general. The symbol that they use, the 3 lions, actually French. Okay. Even when England joined the EU, did you know England was refused twice? To join the EU back in 1974.
Yes, from France.
Let me finish, Joe. Let me finish. I'm 40 years older than you, so I think I know more than what you'll ever know. Okay? In 1974, before 1974, England begged the EU twice to join the EU. Do you know why they begged? Because they had no fuel, no North Sea gas, no nothing. And there was actually no one refused. The French and the Germans and the Italians said, one day you'll ruin things. No, we'll never leave. What have you done? And the trouble with the British, I'm telling you that now, the trouble with the British, every time something goes wrong, they blame somebody else. Always blame somebody else. Instead of blaming your own government, then you blame the people that live here. We helped to build this country. We helped. And you're not English, yo. No matter if you think you're lineage, I'm more British than you because I've been here longer than you. But do they treat me as British? No, they treat us all racism. And something else, what your government's got to remember, there's 12.5 million Brits that live in Europe all over the world. If they start kicking people out, what's going to happen? All these Brits, which is wrong, because they made a law with someone else, they're going to get kicked out.
They already are. They already are.
Spain, if I can finish
Netherlands, in the Middle East, they're already saying
if I'm not English, what am I then like? To you, if I'm not English, what am I?
To us, or to me, you're English, but I'm saying to English people themselves, you're not English enough. That's the whole conversation we're having, Yo.
You should never forget your background, where you originally came from.
No, of course not.
Can I finish, Joe?
Yeah, go on.
Like I said, I've been here 60 years, over 60 years. I will never forget my ethnicity, because even as an immigrant, you're born in this country, you got an English passport, they can take it away. Look at that Zia. That Zia. If he gets it, he's an immigrant. He's family immigrant, and he acts racist. He's the biggest, and he pretends to be white. He's so desperate to be white that he acts the way that he is. Farage will never come in power. Never. And do you know who Farage's great uncle is?
No.
1930s Germany should give you a hint. Who his great uncle is.
It's all family.
And he looks more like him every single day. And British people should be ashamed because their grandparents fought against people like him. Fought against people like him. And what are they doing? What are they doing? They're trying to bring it back. I don't care.
I'm going to move to the next person shortly, and I'm
going to go now, host.
Thank you.
I will follow you, and I will come up again if I may. Yes. It just angers me, host. Fucking said is the way people are being treated. Me personally, I don't care where a person comes from. We're all human beings. And one thing else, if I can just add this, for a country to say they're Christian, they are not, because they got to remember God isn't racist. People are racist. And all these racists will answer to God at the end of the day. If you truly believe in God, you'll answer to God. Because God isn't racist. People are.
Thank you, Tony, for that.
Thank you, host. I appreciate you for letting me up, host. And I'll follow you. And if I may, I'll come up again next time. I've got things to do.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
About life is that we always have people that are older and wiser than us, regardless of how old we are. I'm 42. You know, Yo, you said you're 20. I'm learning from Tony. I learn from everybody that's up here on the panel. I learn from people that are younger as well. So, you know, when we're younger, we do think that we know a lot. Unfortunately, this is kind of the mindset that we're all given as young people. But we also have to have the ability, if we're in these spaces, because we choose to be here, is that, you know, let's still try and learn some stuff. So I appreciate you actually listening to what we have to say as well. So
Fox, I very small.
I understand, like, to an extent, what you're
because Yo has been spoken.
Like, I understand, like, what you're saying to an extent of, like, because people want, like, a pure bloodline. So if you say that, someone's going to say something. I see from that point what you're saying, but me personally, I've never experienced, like, people said, although I'll give you a funny story. It was very, very quick. When I was in Germany, people thought I was German, which I thought was a bit odd because some people come up to me talking German.
Your lineage is from there.
Yeah, it is. Some of it is because, like I said, some of it is.
You're Anglo-Saxon, so your lineage is Germany.
Yeah, it is. I've not got any Scandinavia in me, but I have got Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-Saxons aren't from Scandinavia. They're from Germany, well, Dutch, Danish, and then Netherlands.
Yeah.
And Germany, but mostly German. So but
I agree with that. Like when people say about, like, obviously, because if you think about it, like the mix of before England, I swear it was Irish, Scottish, and Welsh, wasn't it? Before the English, because the English was, but I don't know enough.
And then there was Beaker people before that. I'm not fully clued up on the lineage, but it was mainly like the indigenous Britons, which were Celtic, Brythonic as well, also as part of that. Too. So
Cornwall was one as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, Cornwall.
Yeah.
The Kernos.
Yeah. But I accept that. I fully accept that, and I think, like, you know, like you said, it's a mix of kind of everything, and I do accept that. Yeah. But I also kind of think, like, forgot what I was going to say, but. Yeah, don't worry about it. I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. Okay. But yeah, we're just trying to get you to see a little bit further into the future about where things are heading. So what you're saying now, everything is all cool now for you. But like people have said, it is just we're breaking down the timeline of seeming inevitability. This is a bit. It's not just happening in England. It's happening in the United States. It's happening in Africa, in South Africa. It's happening in Australia. You know, anywhere that there's majority white people. First, I mean, they've been coming for us anyway for centuries. Black and proud people. We've had the shit. But as things are getting more and more pressed for white people, they're trying to test how white you actually are. So, you know, it's a real big problem that's going to assume. So I just want to make sure that you understand it and also have the skills to fight it, because you're going to have to fight too. Maybe not now because you're in your 20s, but I mean in like 10 years time, 20 years time. And then hopefully you'll remember this conversation, Yo, because there's a reason why you're on the panel with us today talking about this. There's a reason why.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, I mean, look, yeah.
Okay, Oak
Can I ask a question?
It's for 1 minute, Commander, because Oak has been waiting for some time and Oak wants to
Go on.
Oak, you can come in now. Are you all right today, Oak?
I'm all good, love you.
I'm good, thank you. So genuinely, the topic we were talking about is the local elections. You know, the England have really shown itself to be the racist country that it is. I've been talking on my platform, especially about this for 2 years. In my real life, I've been talking about it for many, many, many years. But, you know, the elections are showing this, and that obviously Scotland and Wales have voted more not along those same lines. And culturally, they're obviously different people anyway. So what do you want to add to the conversation, Oak?
So, yeah, I've been seeing this quite a bit, and it's called like the Celtic exit and stuff like that. But what really worries me about this whole Celtic exit is that they're going to be forgetting about the smaller nations, the minority of the Celtic nations, aka Kernow, Cornwall, and Mannan, Isle of Man. Now, Isle of Man is almost separate out of the British system anyway. They pretty much have their own law system, own currency. They pretty much have their own government going on with themselves, stuff like that. Totally get that. But Cornwall itself, you know, I don't really particularly like this like Celtic exit flag, which is this, you know, the Welsh dragon, the Scottish saltire, and the tricolour, because it almost like it's almost forgetting about the shackles and chains of colonisation of Cornwall, that Cornwall is still tied to England. And it's almost like the Celtic nations just kind of want to forget. And I just want to say to anyone who is part of the Celtic Nation Union and stuff like that, not one of us are free until we're all free. So if you're going to forget about Cornwall, you're never free in the Celtic nations, because then you are literally... you're literally allowing England to keep hold of one of the smaller nations that we need to genuinely focus on to get them out if they need to, if they want to. They should have their own voice. They have their own language. They have their own culture. They have their own flag. Even when you go there, even when you go to Cornwall, it's like a different world. It's its own place. It's its own essence.
The people are different. They're happier. They're genuinely happier. Like the culture is so beautiful. I actually spent a month in Cornwall a few years ago, and I was even going to Weight Watchers in Cornwall.
Yeah, well, the thing is, feel like actual, genuine Cornish people, yes, they are the most beautiful, heartfelt people you'll ever meet. But unfortunately, it is filled with holidaymakers from fucking rich places like Mayfair. And when we were last there, they were like, as a local, we don't have your kind round here. And then next to this little lovely old Cornish lady, I was like, don't mind them. They're just fucking rich-ass London Mayfair bastards. You Scousers are welcome as much as you want in Cornwall. I said, thanks, babe. I fucking love you. I knew you were from round here. But that's the thing, though. Like, a lot of people forget this. Like, even this whole, I'm Anglo-Saxon, or I'm Celtic, or I'm Anglo-Celt. Those terms are not even meant for peoples anyway. Anglo-Saxon or Saxon's a cultural term. And Celtic, again, is a cultural term. They are not peoples. Your peoples or your Anglo-Saxons are like your Normans, your Germanics, your Scandinavians, because obviously, you know, the Saxons came from the Scandinavian countries down through the Germanic countries into England. And even Celtic, it's an umbrella term for many different cultures, because your peoples are your Gaulish, your Gaels, and your Brythonics. So, you know, I think what a lot of people need to do is genuinely, like, educate. And the thing is, though, like, you can simply just do a quick Google search. It's not that hard. Like, what is Celtic? It'll come up that it's an umbrella term for a cultural aspect.
Like, honestly, though, Oak, I do think that Googling is also a skill. Because, honestly, I talk to my mum about stuff. Yeah, she says to me, oh, how do you know this? I'm like, I just Googled it. And then when I say to her, Google something, the terms that she's putting into Google, I'm like, that's not what you need to put.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought Googling was easy. Obviously, it's easy for me and you, to Google, and I'm sure for a lot of people it's
Of
easy.
course,
But
yeah.
some people don't know how to Google. And I'm just like, wow. So we have to go back. We thought we were at step 1 by Googling. They're like -1 step. So we have to go back a little bit to teach them first how to Google, like what terms to put in. But I think the world, to be honest with you, has moved way too far past that point, where that's why it's part of this great replacement theory that they come up with. Like, if you've not moved with the technological era and you don't understand these parts, there's no way you're making it through to the next Earth that we're bringing in. Like, because these old ways of thinking are gone. But now, if you don't, I mean, a lot of them obviously don't even know half the shit that we're talking about. That's why they're voting for reform, because they have no clue about anything that we're talking about. All they can do is say vote reform, because they've got no other senses. Or
Well, that's it, because I taught my mother and grandmother about, like, OK Google. They all like, you know, hey Siri, whatever phone you have, I've got to be careful because Siri might pop up like, what do you want? No, go away, Siri. But, like, I told them that because it gives them more of an easier option to be able to speak what they want instead of just being able to type or stuff like that. So, like, you know, I think technology is actually making it easier access to, like, information and stuff like that. So, like, it's just making people aware of it, really, with that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think though, like, with this, like, Celtic accent and stuff like that, I do believe if the Celtic nations are not going to fight for the freedom of Cornwall, I think it's fucking pointless, because otherwise they're just going to leave one of their smaller cousins behind to be chained to England, which they should have a freedom of choice not to. Bearing in mind, there's a lot of English people there going, we don't want Cornwall to be independent. And I'm like, yeah, because you're English, you're not Cornish, you're not Cernywych. You have no Cernywych connection. You have no Cernywych ancestry. You just moved there to make holiday homes in the 50s and ended up settling there. That's why you don't want independence, because your holiday homes, which means that you will have to go. You'll probably have to go to Skegness or fucking East Anglia on the Kent fucking estuary. So take it all back there, because the Cornish, the true Cornish anyway, don't want it.
Lucy's got
The
some
true
things
Cornish
that she
don't want
wants to add to your comments as well.
Yeah, of
Lucy?
course. Yeah, of course.
Just very, very briefly, and I hope everyone can hear me. Can you
You're
hear
very
me?
quiet.
Right. My headphones are broken. I'm
Your
so sorry.
headphones.
So just, we can actually, as the Celtic nations, carry smaller countries that maybe would doubt that they could survive on their own. So if Cornwall, which is about the same size as Man, so I don't see why they are an independent country, but, you know, if there was that doubt, you know, we wouldn't and shouldn't leave somewhere like Cornwall behind. We could carry them with trade agreements, with cultural exchange, with, you know, like the reason why the Manx language survived is because a bunch of Irish people in the 40s went to the Isle of Man and started recording everybody speaking. You know, it was the Irish who saved the Manx language, okay? And then a few scholars from Wales as well came in and helped with it. But you know, we can absolutely assist one another. And this is the difference between the UK Union, which sucks all the money, power and resources and abandons vast sections, not just of Scotland and the north of Ireland and, you know, and Wales and Cornwall, just abandon them, but also abandons whole sections of England. Whereas the community attitude that we have in sort of like Celtic nations is to actually bring each other up and assist one another because of our like hospitality codes and our it's honestly a different mentality. And I get a lot of, just one more point, I get a lot of English people saying, well, you're going to cut off our water if you go. And I'm going like, no, we wouldn't. You know, what kind of monsters do you think we are?
Projection.
You know, like,
Projection.
You know, we're not just going to cut this off. You know, that would be cruel. Is that what you would do to us? Okay, is that what you would do to us? Because we wouldn't do that to you. You know, and there's a lot of people who really actually care up here about England's well-being, and that's not reciprocated the other way. You know, like, but so yeah, I just like, we can carry Cornwall, and Cornwall should be included, and we shouldn't abandon Cornwall. And I actually agree with Oak's perspective on this.
Too, and I'm really glad that he brought that up. I'm really glad that he brought up thinking about how the UK, how Britain was before with its separate areas and separate kingdoms. Oh man, The funny thing is, of course, I don't even have the lineage there, but I would have loved to have seen what Britain was like back then with all the different kingdoms and things like that. Maybe that's the funny thing is, even though I talk about this subject, I don't actually dive that much into the history of Britain itself because I'm more about England and English because I've got this accent, right? This is a personal route I'm taking, so I also want to look into actually Britain itself beforehand because you learn some bits at school, and I went to Verulamium actually, even though it's mainly about Roman stuff, and going to I can't remember where else it was I went to, but not many places. I don't remember much. I don't remember much from back in school days talking about what Britain was like. It was all kind of like World War II, World War One. But we've got Castor Troy on the panel. Castor Troy, I think you've controlled yourself very well today because yesterday you were like bah, 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 and I had to drop you. So you've done well today, Castor Troy. So what is it that you want to add to the conversation today?
Oh, yesterday was kind of similar. I think I unmuted once, maybe by accident or whatever. Well, you see, I actually find this hilarious because Reform are sellouts. Nigel Farage brought all the failures and the Tories anyway. The only real solution is Sir Rupert Lowe. Restore Britain. And I hope my friends in the United Kingdom will vote Restore because he is the only one who wants to get rid of all the scum, deport all the scum, and make England for the English. That is the only real solution.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Yeah, host, there's supposed to be an audio problem. Everyone's commenting.
Yeah, I just replied because I just did put. I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear what you were saying. They're gone. I didn't actually hear what that person was saying because I was literally trying to mute and understand.
It wasn't worth it. He was just being racist.
Oh, okay. All right, then. So that's good. I didn't hear it. But on to the next one. So is it gone now? Because I've unmuted myself. And I think maybe someone else had some back thing. Anyway, hopefully the sound is better now. So thank you so much. This is Beth from blocking, and thank you for moderators dealing with what you needed to do with that. We've got now the Anachronista on the panel. I've seen you around somewhere, or I've seen you in comment sections. Hello, how are you?
Hello, yes. Yeah, I used to do a lot of background art for Ems. So you've seen me in some of your joint lives. I fall into the bracket of somebody that isn't English enough for the English. Not because I'm not English, but because my body doesn't work the way it should. I'm physically disabled. I have a carer 3 times a week because there's no other way that I can wash my own hair. It is a nightmare. And not only do we face the constant battle of justifying our existence to the government in order to receive disability benefits, we are always used as a political football when minorities aren't doing it enough, right? We know that Nigel Farage has spoken to his donors, his party donors, about wanting to privatise the NHS. That in itself means I won't get healthcare anymore. We know that he wants to gut 90% of the welfare budget. That includes pensions. And as pensions are the highest, it is where most of the money goes. It means that there isn't much left for those of us that currently need it more, because it's sent as standard to anybody of age. Like the warm home allowance used to be, with anybody that is of pension age could claim it, even if you are already a multi-millionaire. This country is set up for the poor to fail and the rich to succeed. And you get a few outliers, but it has always been this way, because if you allow the poor to have access to something, then those pesky foreigners will get access to it. That's the messaging that I've always seen. But the bit that really gets to me at the moment is trying to explain to Reform voters that Farage has said that he wants to institutionalize the disabled. When you put all of these ducks in a row and you think, oh, he's going to take away all of our income, that means that we can't afford to pay rent anymore. So that means that he's going to end up with a whole load of disabled people out on the streets. What's he going to do with us? Well, he's going to go for his buddy in America, RFK Jr.'s plan of putting us in wellness re-education camps.
It hurts my heart so much. Like really so much. It hurts my heart. Like when I think about, and I'm a big empath, and I don't think that people know this because I'm very much like, when it comes to English people. But I'm a huge empath, and like I'm getting teary in my eyes. And actually, it's been some time since I've been teary in my eyes. I think there is something about when people are in situations that they can't help, and when it comes to people who have, and I like the way that you said it. You said, that's the wrong words to use. I think you said that your body, something about your body. You said, how did you describe it? You said
it doesn't work the way that it should.
Yeah, your body doesn't work the way that it should. So that makes me have massive empathy and makes me very sad, because when I think about the benefit system and I think about why it was set up in the UK, it was literally to help people like yourself. That is what it was created for. And to see in the current Labour government, and even in previous governments, there has been this vilification towards people that have different abilities, right? And the fact now that that has literally been weaponized towards yourselves, it hurts my heart so much, because that literally explains everything what England is to me, which is a massive lack of empathy and understanding. Like, how can you vilify people that can't help the situation that they're in regards to their body? Like that makes me sick. And I think back,
the way that they justify it is because government messaging comes down to the media to, and I hate this term now that we know what a horrible human being named Chomsky is, but manufacturing consent. And they will post in the media things about how there's the disabled welfare bill is so expensive, and they'll say that they need to cut disability because of it, whilst not explaining that the majority of money goes to the triple up pensions. And they will say that there's too many people claiming welfare, therefore most of these people can't be genuine. Even though we know that from the year 2024, the DWP's own statistics say that there's a 2% rate of fraud in PIP.
And actually, I think this is about looking at your neighbours, though.
1 minute, real deal, because I will bring you in. The way that there are so many different groups in the UK that literally get made to be the villains, and it's always the smallest groups because they're easier to pick off, right? They're easier to pick off.
But
they know the thing about the disability cuts. It has been put in, and actually just benefits generally has been put into people's minds for about 20 years already, because you have Benefit Street, exactly. So all in the media, they're telling you that these people are the people that are the problem. They're taking your money out of your pockets, because if you're a good tax-paying person, this person directly is taking money out of your pocket. And then, of course, you started to see people who were faking disabilities on that system. And so then it started to train people's minds to be like, well, I need to query every single person that I see in a wheelchair now. And if you tie that to people who were in the working class and they were also disabled, it made people think even more, well, then they must be scrounging off the benefit system. And then again, because people don't have critical thinking skills, they just tar everybody. And as soon as they see PIP is being cut or benefits are being cut to these people, they're like, cool, I don't care who those cuts are coming from, because eventually it means that because I'm struggling, I'm going to be richer because more money is going to go in my pocket. English people fail every single time. British people fail every single time. There is nothing that the UK does to put more money in your pockets. Historically, no money has gone extra into your pockets at all. Every time they do something, they overturn it. Every single time. They give you a little bit of a short leeway and then they bring in some extra cost. We've not got richer. We've not got richer as people. We've struggled.
I already have to spend nearly £300 a month on private healthcare because of an NHS nice guidance from, weirdly, not from a doctor, which is unusual for nice guidelines, that states that people that experience chronic pain aren't actually experiencing pain because it's not from an acute injury, and therefore we don't need pain medication. So they've kind of stealth privatized access to pain medication by booting us off of it in the NHS, all because there's Brexit shortages. So they have to try and find a way to justify it. And so they punish us. And so there's multiple layers of concern of, sorry, before I go on that, before I forget, that 2% fraud rate in PIP, this is even shows even more how deceptive they are. Only 0.002% of that is fraudulent claims. The rest of it is internal error. So all of that, there's so many fakers and scroungers under Rishi Sunak. There was that infamous Telegraph article that came out where they had a calculator that showed how much of your tax money was going to fund the lifestyle of being on PIP. It is all there to demonize, to give somebody a folk devil to blame for all of their problems rather than accept accountability. And I think that very much sums up the English mentality.
Yeah, it is very sad. I think Real Deal has got something that they wanted to add. Real Deal? On the panel? Real Deal, are you there? Real Deal.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. You put me on mute. I suppose with benefits, my parents came here in the 1960s, and they worked. They never claimed benefits. I suppose with people who have genuine disabilities, those people don't have anything to worry about. The people that have something to worry about are the tricksters. So there are lots of people with things like disability motor vehicles. Some people are driving Mercedes-Benz,
No, Real Deal, you're not understanding the issue that we're talking about. It's people.
I am. Just let me finish. Let me finish.
I don't need to let you finish anything. You're focusing on the people who actually are taking advantage of the system, which is we've literally just been
On the
sat here talking about it.
0.002%.
We've just been talking about this. You haven't listened to anything that we've said, right? The people that always get affected when you're focusing on the minority is the majority of people that end up suffering. You haven't listened to anything that we were talking about, Real Deal. You weren't listening.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would know that is 0.002% of PIP claimants that are fraudulent. So all of this Motability stuff, the reason people drive Mercedes, twofold. Firstly, if you have access to funds already, you can pay additional money each month on top of your personal independence payment, which is a benefit you can receive whether you're in or out of work. It just covers additional disability costs, although it doesn't cover it, but, then...
You didn't let me finish. I think it's quite rude.
You weren't making any points that make sense.
Mercedes,
Shut up, Rebecca.
The reason they're Mercedes is because cheaper car manufacturers don't make cars for disabled people because of this ableist mindset. because of
I'm just
people
gonna-
like
Thank you.
that gentleman.
Sorry to cut you off at the end there. Just for the moderators, so we have to do a lot of censoring on this app, by the way. There are so many terms that people use these days. They use so many different phrases that we have to keep an eye on. Rebecca is one of them, by the way. I saw that. I don't know who this person is. I need to do a bit more research, but that's why I dropped that person. It is an insult. I think there was some lady, some white lady or something like that, and they tried to say that there's a black version of this woman. Like I said, I need to do a bit more research on it, but it is an insult. So we're going to add that to moderation as well. So if you hear any comments about Rebecca, it's not a good one. It's not a good one. Yeah. So yeah, he said, "Shut up, Rebecca," before he left. Yeah, exactly. You can get lost, real deal. Can you guys block him from the chat, please? Please block him and make sure that he's never to return to this space, because clearly he's very ignorant and just a silly little person. Bruce Straw. We've got Bruce Straw next, please.
Good evening from Sydney, Australia. Bruce 47, he, him. If everyone could please tap the screen, get the likes up to 30,000 likes to show the appreciation to the amazing host. I was just wanting to back up the information on my learned colleague below me, that the thing is that a lot of people go, well, those disabled people or those cripples or what ableist term they want to use. Now, the thing is that anyone can become disabled, whether it be through things such as the spicy flu,
I'm just gonna
the
interrupt
various...
you for a minute. Sorry, Bruce. I'm just gonna, please don't repeat any derogatory terms towards disabilities. Like, we don't need to hear the phrases.
Yep.
You can make the point without making the phrases,
Yep.
because that's offensive.
Yep. So, and anyone can become, so whether it be the various different viruses that are out there at the moment, whether it be from a car crash, whether it be from a surgery. So the reason I came up is also I am a person with lived experience. I was working 2 full-time jobs and volunteering at 5 entities, even though I had 5 mental disabilities. And it wasn't until I had my spinal injury, chronic illness and neurodegeneration that it kind of slowed me down a bit. So, and yeah, I very rarely use the C word, but being a person that is a C word,
You do what I say about all of us. Like any group of people that has some kind of derogatory phrase, is because some white person at the top put this label on us, right? We need to empower ourselves. Yeah, with more powerful, beautiful terms for ourselves. So let's not embrace these things. We're much better than this. We're better than this.
And just with whatever that person was that got booted just left, he doesn't understand that, yes, Nigel Farage is the biggest liar in the world. You saw with the Brexit that Boris Johnson had a photo in front of that huge red campaign bus saying that they were going to put 29 billion pounds into the NHS.
350 billion a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still not gone through. And yet, when he was questioned about it, he said, "Oh no, I didn't say that." And they're like, "Well, there's photos of the bus, and it says it." Oh no, we never said that. We were never going to promise that. And the reason we know that Nigel Farage, the big xenophobe, is going to go after it is because what's happening in Australia right now. So you guys know about AUKUS, right?
Don't know about AUKUS. I only know about that. What's that guy's name? Who's that? Thomas? No, what's his name? It's unrelated but related. What's his name?
Steve Irwin.
No. No. So you've got that right-wing guy. He's kind of young, in his 30s, and he's been arrested or something. I don't know if this is related that I'm talking about now. It's just popped into my mind because you mentioned Nigel Farage. Who is it?
Yeah, that only narrows it down to about 10,000 people when you say, that right-wing racist white guy. That narrows it down to 10,000.
He was shouting at your prime. Was he shouting? Or he went to New Zealand? Or maybe I'm thinking New Zealand. Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm thinking Australia. I'm sorry. Continue, and I will Google his name.
That's all right. And so what's happening, because for anyone who doesn't know, AUKUS is an acronym for Australia, UK, and USA that are doing a submarine deal. Now, we already had a submarine deal with France, but one of our dumbest prime ministers, Scott Morrison, went and backstabbed the French and did this deal and only told the president of France the night before basically, long story short, it's $400 billion that Australia is going to pay over the next 30 years to America that we potentially might possibly in the future maybe get some submarines if America has enough submarines of their own and if America wants to give us them. It's written into the deal. They don't have to give us anything even though we give them $400 billion. And the reason I bring that up is because they're now cutting funding to what we call the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Scheme. They're kicking 168,000 kids off the NDIS without having adequate supports in place before they do this. And so what it alludes to is the incompetence, the inept, the corruption, the greed that before one of our previous prime ministers, Tony Abbott, we had taxes on MRRT and PRRT, which is basically tax on fossil fuels and fossil resources. But Tony Abbott took that away. If we still had that in place, Australia would have a $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund right now.
Wow.
But because lobbyists have got such access to politicians in the UK, USA, and Australia, they are buying your politicians. They are buying what is to be done. And this is why we need to, as annoying as the racists are and the rednecks and the dumb people are, we need to work together. We need to put our differences down right now and we need to go, right, the actual problems are the oligarchs. It's the billionaires. It's the people who are making us sick and unalive due to pollution and climate change and all these sort of things. And I get, as an environmental scientist, I get people all the time going, oh, climate change, it's just that woke bullshit crap. The Exxon, the huge petroleum company, they studied it in the 1970s and Exxon proved the direct link between carbon and climate change.
It's crazy. It's sad. It's so freaking sad that we have to have conversations like this. And you reminded me of a phrase that it was Theresa May that said this when the NHS staff wanted a little bit more money because they were so stretched, of course, over COVID. I think it was, am I getting my timelines right? I think so. That they asked for a pay rise and then all of a sudden there was no magic money tree. There's no money, but they always seem to find money.
That was before COVID.
Yeah,
she was ousted, as we know, according to the Mr. E files. We know that there was a meeting between Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, Mr. E, and Steve Bannon to push Theresa May out of the premiership to pave the way for Boris Johnson. So that was all before C-19. And one of the first things he did, abolish the pandemic task force. Yep. So when it did hit us a couple of years later, all of that, we scrambled to catch up rather than be able to manage it.
Yeah. This is the thing, like people always say, oh, why do you look in the past? Why do you look in the past? Because you have to go back. And we've had to go back hundreds of years actually to understand how we've ended up where we are in the world and why the world is as it is today. Like we're never going to stop going back. We're never going to stop uncovering the pieces of the puzzle because the puzzle is so freaking huge and complicated. And those of us who have the time and energy and effort to be able to uncover the story, it kind of is, it's a blessing because we're not blinded anymore. Whilst we still see that there are a lot of people blind to the issues and blind to the story, we have to actually understand that it is a privilege to know as much as we know now. And even earlier, we just talked about even the ability to Google things. That's even a blessing to know, because then you know what you're fighting, you know what you're up against. Black Mimi is going to, Mimi, you're going to be the last person on my panel today because it's been 2 hours 20 today. So yes,
Oh, wow.
bring us home,
What an
Mimi.
honour. Thank you.
I think you were my last person last time as well. Like last week.
Do you know what? I don't know what happened yesterday. Yeah, I did. And yesterday you got bananaed as well because I wanted to come up and be like, give your head some wobble. What's going on? But thank you on that. I was just coming about the mobility. So I'm disabled. I've got disabled children as well. Funny enough, yesterday I was on listening as I was getting ready to go to the disabled protests in Parliament Square. One of the things that concerns me about this myth surrounding mobility is I don't think people realise how beneficial it was. There's actually been a government report that they will not refer to, which shows how beneficial the mobility scheme was for the UK. I'll give you an example. People used to have their vehicles, the held together with tape as they were driving along. Because of the success of the mobility vehicle, it also, as a byproduct, increased the standard of second-hand vehicles that we have in the UK country, which also made our vehicles as a country a lot more cleaner in terms of the energy and usage that was happening. So in addition to that, we had the stimulation from the industry itself. So we were buying vehicles that were being made here that were also being made abroad and allowing our government leverage when they were negotiating for other contracts and stuff as well. People don't realise that you actually have to pay for your vehicle. Your vehicle, the upfront cost is for you to pay for. So you might have to contribute £3,000 or £4,000 depending on which vehicle you've gone for. And then your resulting PIP for the mobility section will pay for the ongoing costs. It helps with the insurance. It also helps with the tax revenue for the generalised vehicle duty that we have as well. So when people are telling you or looking down about these people driving Mercedes, what they don't realise is that the Mercedes that was being used, or a majority that were on the mobility scheme, were specifically designed to be higher, particularly in the back, to allow people who have mobility issues, particularly their back and spine, to actually get into the vehicle, because that's quite hard. I had surgery last year, major abdominal surgery. I've got Crohn's disease. So I had a bit of my stomach and bowel taken out, and I had to walk with a crutch for a couple of weeks. And I have a low vehicle, and I didn't realise, actually now, I'm going to bring my car into the dealer tomorrow because I actually need to change my vehicle. That's how bad it's getting. I'm now looking at whether or not it's worth me going through the mobility scheme, which I know I'm not going to use because I didn't use it before, or paying privately. So I actually pay privately for my vehicle anyway. I use a bit of the PIP mobility element, and I also fund it myself. A lot of us that are on PIP as well, I actually work full time. I work a very hard demanding job, but there are additional costs that I have to incur as a disabled person. So yesterday, I knew I was going to this protest, but I know today that I'm wiped out. You can hear it in my voice. I'm very nasally. I'll be wiped out for the rest of today and probably tomorrow as well. So there are physical toils that no one else will see. But if you were to ask anybody on my street and anything like that, they would never know that I'm disabled until I come in sometimes with my badge on my vehicle. And that is because disability doesn't look as you want it to look. And I think this is one of the things that we need to get people to understand. You won't know if someone's, especially in my community, our community are black, have sickle cell. You will never know that. But, there are people who are running around. There was a famous case of a guy who was playing football and they tried to disallow his claim. And then when he went to the tribunal, he was like, look, I've got sickle cell. And the tribunal were like, what the hell was going on? Because there's no sign that says that someone has got this condition, particularly in our community as well. You might see the yellow eyes, that's about it. And even then, that's all with everybody. So this idea that people have about there being genuine disabilities. Now, the lady before had already said that the stats was 0 point something. Because when she said 2%, I was like, oh, that's a bit too high. And then she's clarified it down as well. My concern is this. You are listening to someone who's got, I'm talking about Bad T Farage here. You're listening to someone who's got a vested interest and a track history of doing the country over. He's already said that he wants to have a private insurance model come into the UK. Now, national insurance is an insurance. It is in its name. We pay into an insurance model here. What people don't realise is free at the point of delivery doesn't mean it's free. It just means that we don't pay for it when we go to the counter at A&E. But if you are really nosy and spend a lot of time in A&E like I do, you will see that people do have to come with their credit cards. A lot of people have to come with their credit card who rightfully need to pay because they don't qualify. So for me, there's never been this myth about the NHS not collecting money, because I see them do it on a regular basis. They're quite on point, especially in my community. For people that have gone back to Jamaica, maybe come back as well, they often come into problems when they come back, and there's that idea about, actually, are you still entitled because you've been out of the country for X amount of time? So again, the idea that the NHS is inefficient and it's not checking doesn't if you are watching what's going on, doesn't hold water. But what I don't find people doing is looking at why you're being told this. And going back to Bati Faraj, is he wants to bring in a private model. What he's not saying to you is that, if you look at the stats for the USA, how many people go bankrupt in the USA through poor health? Wow. When I was saying to someone on another panel, I had to pay for private healthcare that last month, I think it was a month long. One of my tests alone was just under £150 for one blood test. You're not going to be able to afford that. For a lot of people walking around in the UK with bad teeth, it's because they can't afford to go to the dentist here under the NHS costs. Yeah. So how do you think you're going to fare when you're already sick, your leg might be hanging off, or, you've got a brain aneurysm, or we've just had a bereavement in my family with someone who just dropped down unalived last week. Now, when I worked in the States, one of the things that I found really weird with my colleagues, because I was calling the ambulance for everybody, and they were like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. And I work in finance. They were saying because people have to pay to get into an ambulance. I think around the time it was around $4,000. People in the UK don't understand that. So you've now got a situation where Uber is picking up people off the street to take them after they've had car accidents because they can't afford the charge for the ambulance. That's not to say they don't need the ambulance, but it's because they know that they can't afford the burden of costs after. And then they're checking them outside of hospitals. We've also got images of people that are being escorted off the hospital premises, and you can see it online. Don't believe what I'm saying. Go and check it on your online, where you see a line of people that have been discharged from the hospital, and they're pushed out by security because they can't afford their treatment. Now, that's something you don't see here. I cannot stress enough, it is dangerous to have this idea that someone's dodging the system or it is not genuine, because you're not a doctor. And even if you were a doctor, some doctors don't even know everything as it is already. And those of us that have got multiple chronic illnesses can tell you, sometimes we're going up against people who don't know what they're doing themselves, and they've got their MD behind them. But what concerns me is one of the biggest pull factors we've ever had against fascism was that our financial state was such that it wasn't tied to our housing and it wasn't tied to our health. And your forefathers, you YT patriots that like to say that you're patriotic, you never seem to know your own personal history, but you love to come and fast in the history of black and brown people across the world. You're not looking into your own history as recently as the 1900s as to why they got rid of factory homes, why they got rid of this idea that you couldn't have free healthcare. The NHS was given to you as a right because of the contributions of people who fought in the WARs. And for you to so willfully and callously disregard it because some rich guy with bad teeth is telling you that this is beneficial for you, you need to give your head a wobble and think, well, who is benefiting and why are they benefiting from this? Because I guarantee you, anyone who's had to go into private healthcare in this country will know it is not easy. And it's not something that when you're ill, you actually want to countenance. You want to go to whichever hospital you could go to and get treated. And you haven't got the wherewithal to be going through the stats of the doctor and whether or not the surgeon's going to be the best one. And can you get an authorization code from your insurance company if you can get through to them? And then when you've had the surgery, the insurance clerk, who's not medically trained, is on the phone telling the hospital that they don't agree with the treatment and want you to have something else. Unless you've had to deal with that, and you're living abroad yourself, so you know the difference. It is not simple. Even those of us that have had accidents abroad, God forbid, and you've had to deal with the insurance company when you're on holiday telling you which hospital you could go to, you would not willfully enter into this system. Now my nose is getting blocked again. I'm gasping for breath for this hay fever. I'm going to stop there.
I'll give you let you have a breather. So yeah, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday. We talked about how, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'd not seen it myself, the fact that people were paying and have paid in front of you in NHS waiting rooms, like you've seen it. Because the only examples I could think of was how I have to pay privately anyway for my dental because I had a hereditary gum problem. that seems to have cured itself since I've left the UK. I don't have to go to the dentist as much. So I was kind of figuring out, like, was it actually something to do with me living in the UK? And it's not stress. I didn't feel stressed living in the UK, but maybe there was something else. I don't know. But every 2 months, I was literally going for my gums. And I was saying that, you know, we can see anyway in dental, the prices kept going higher and higher and higher. And there was getting a clean on the NHS is ridiculous, like, and then having to pay incrementally for certain things. And even now, for me to pay a hygienist for where I live now, I think is £45. I called my dentist back in the UK, they were telling me 75 quid for a clean, and I used to pay, funny enough, 45 quid before I left, you know. And I'm just like, Jesus, they've already been training us anyway to pay. And I'm glad that you brought up that example of already paying for services in the NHS regarding doctors' care and healthcare. I'm frozen. What happened?
Oh, I can
No,
see
you're not frozen. You're okay.
Oh, that's strange.
Oh, okay.
Because
Must be
again,
thinking.
I am
maybe
frozen on this. Look.
Oh no.
So weird.
Do you remember the prescription charges that came in when they said they were going to start at £5, right?
Yes.
Now, on the face of it, that sounds really okay. I have been in the hospital when I've seen a woman in the bed next to me, she's been refused to have the surgery because she cannot afford the medications that she's going to have after. So this is Big King's College. This is hospital. Now, NHS is not in the habit of giving you operations that you don't need, okay? So she would have already had to meet the boundary or the standard to have the operation. And when the surgeons come down in the pre-op suite that we're in, he has said to her, you're going to need to have bandages, 3 different types of bandages, and you're going to need to have this medication for the pain and this for the something else. I wasn't really trying to be up in her business, but I got ADHD and sometimes my hearing's quite good like that.
So supersonic hearing, I hear everything. It's literally like bats, right? Every conversation, you're like, there's going to be something I need to know in that conversation. They're talking about something. It's true.
And he said, you have to prove to me that you have this, because what he didn't want was for her to go home and to affect his stats as a surgeon with her getting readmitted back into the hospital. So she was like, oh, I don't have that money yet, I haven't been paid. And he was like, well, can your friend go and get it? You know, you got to have an escort to cover you. I want to speak to your escort so they can go and get it from the pharmacy now, and so I can say that you've got it. It was part of their pre-checks. The escort didn't have enough money. It was around £90-something in fees that she was going to have to pay for her medicines and all the rest of it. I can't stress enough to you, I am someone who, if I'm ill, I'm saying run me paracetamol and the rest of it, because I have a prepaid certificate for my medication, but that's because I've got chronic illnesses, and I know I will end up needing more than 3 items per quarter. She wasn't even aware of that. She'd always said, and she did the whole, I've paid my taxes into this, but when the legislation was coming out for fees on the prescriptions, she felt it wouldn't affect her. And this is what happens with a lot of people in this country. It shouldn't have to affect you, or it shouldn't be directly involved for you to think, ooh, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of it, I agree. You know, if you can get paracetamol for 39p, you shouldn't be getting it on the prescription. I do agree in principle with that. But then the question also has to be is, why is the NHS paying £10 for paracetamol when it's a license? It's a medicine that's licensed is expired.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to say as well, this Plantier deal that's going through as well, and this is the why the current Secretary for Health, I can't stand him. When he first came in, I was so optimistic. Plantier, when those of us who know about the first I don't want to say because it will get flagged for the funny flu that we had. That was from a scrape of NHS data. They still try to charge us for that V thing that they gave us at the time from the Modernity one. What's happening now is, rather than Plantier being charged like another Swedish company has for access to our records, because they then will sell on the data, it has been given over for free to this third-party country who also funds atrocities in Is Not Real Place. And we're paying them, I think it's 160 mil, something like that per year. We are paying them when they will be using our data, and our data is valuable in the UK because we don't have to pay for our health. It is data that is deemed as quite valuable because there's an equal access to it, apparently. they are then allowed to go and sell on that data to insurance companies, to third parties, and developing medicines and all the rest of it. But we will not get the residual kickbacks from that. And there's even a country, I've forgotten which Scandinavian one it is, that are actually saying, we're getting rid of that contract. So we're entering into a contract that another country has said it's not been beneficial for us. We're exiting that contract. And not only have they done that, they were sneaky about it. They are allowed the UK to start accessing some of the technology for free. And then now they've whacked on charges to say, actually, you've had it for 5 years. We're now going to start charging you. This should be a red flag for everybody.
I need to do some more deep diving into Palantir. I actually haven't done much because the first thing that I heard was it maybe a year ago, about the Pew Pew's contract, and immediately I was like, oh, and then I heard some stuff about, of course, OpenAI and ChatGPT, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I won't use that. To know
it is so much worse than you think.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I need to do more research on it, because that was my first knowledge of even this company, and just to see how deep they're going into things is very scary. And the funny thing is, it's kind of part of the reason why I actually left the UK, because I didn't like how much I don't like how much technology is in the UK, first of all, and I moved to somewhere that is very much behind. I have to say, it is behind for a good reason. Like, we don't have things like Uber and Deliveroo, and we don't have easy access to anything here, which is a very good thing for me. It's a good benefit for me. But I do need to be on top of all this stuff, because even things like, as we know, Meta, how they have access to our data, even Google, how much Google do you have in your life? All of this stuff is so important because of the ways that they manipulate you. But Anachronista, do you want to follow up on Mimi, and then we're going to end the live for today? Yes.
With regards to Palantir, firstly, as a starting off point, in my little thing, the B word that TikTok doesn't like you saying on your profile, there is a link to my Ko-fi that I made a zine about Peter Thiel, which is a really good starting off point, and I include all of the links of where I found all of the information so people can go and dig further. Peter Thiel is a man that says of Britons that we have a Stockholm syndrome-like mentality about the NHS, and that it is his personal mission to abolish the NHS. He believes that AI is God. He has multiple allegations about him as especially abusing boys.
They always do. They always do.
Yep.
Oh, why can't he leave them kids alone? Like, why?
He goes from country to country applying for citizenship, because really what he wants is his own country. And this all falls back into Is Not Real and all of that, and how he's a big supporter of them, and how he and this Board of Peace idea with fucking Tony Blair, who also belongs in The Hague, their plans for Gaza. And it's particularly galling to know that my data is going to a man who is designing software, like he was involved in the Where's Daddy software that knows when a Palestinian man is out of the house, so they can unalive the women and children for him to return to.
Jesus.
And he was also involved with the drones that sound like babies crying, so that it lures people out.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That's just some of the atrocities that are going on there right now. I've got friends over there that they know so much about this stuff that you think, if somebody in the middle of a G-side can learn all of this information, there's no excuse for us pampered English people, primarily English people, that spend all of their time just demonizing others and not paying attention, because they take everything for granted. They assume that everything is going to stay the same, and they don't like change. And they see any kind of movement forward as oppression, and just want to drag us all back. And I don't want to go back to the times of the deserving and the undeserving poor. Not that I think we ever left it, but that model in particular has caused so much harm to so many people for centuries.
Yeah, it's like the image I keep getting in my head is I don't know if you guys have seen the graphs about what the wealth disparity in the UK, I think it is, or maybe even in America, it's probably similar, is what it used to look like in like the 1950s, the 1960s or something, and then how it looks now is scary. And I always just think, well, I know that we're fighting many different battles. I'm also on a spiritual journey. Some of the people here recognize this. This is also a spiritual battle. And I'm just like, when is the battle going to end? And where are we exactly meant to be fighting? Because it feels like there are so many things that we need to fight. But the thing is, I get it also simultaneously, because even conversation is changing the minds of people, right? We're trying to build a better world for the future. So sometimes when it might feel like we've got so many obstacles against us, like I just want to be positive. I want to end the live on a positive note again today. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie, I did see that you wanted to come to panel, but unfortunately I am finishing the live now. Is capitalism is eating itself. There are certain societies and certain communities that are imploding on themselves. So it really is important for you to hold your ground, to be very grounded in the things that you believe, because the things that you believe are the things that are probably going to save you, honestly, truly. And it might feel like it is very much an uphill battle and an uphill struggle, but I do, let me try and say what I want to say. Like my platform is that English people and their ideology is actually what's crumbling. Nothing much else is. There kind of is. I mean, when I say English people and ideology, I mean, of course, they're Americans, the European Americans, the Germans, like anyone of that ilk and bloodline, they're the ones that are crumbling. So for you have to be very, very clear about who you are as a person, even because every single one on this planet has a challenge. You might think that's the person in front of you. Everything is sunshine and rainbows. No. Every single person has a problem that is relative to them. So like we've talked a little bit about disabilities. I've been very open about my mental health, because if you'd seen me as a person, you'd be like, fuck, she's really confident and blah, blah, blah. I got my problems. We've all got our problems. And they're all relative to the particular struggle that we need to have. So try to think about that, because not everybody, the grass is not greener in someone else's life. Believe me, it really isn't. So as long as you're doing the work to understand who you are, understanding your challenges, doing what you can to make sure that you're staying afloat and staying above all of the stuff. I know that the world feels like a really devastating, horrible place. And I'm sure you're doing the same as me, going, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, Earth? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is all this shit? But at the same time, this is why these conversations are really important. So we're not dealing with the stuff alone. We've got people out here in the world. This is not just the English issue, as I've mentioned, and as I try to do, is I connect the dots across the pond. This is why I'm so glad that we have TikTok, is that we have people from America who are on the other side of the issue. People from like Australia. Bruce, thank you so much for being here. On the other side of the issue, that we can still connect and say, right, we understand what's going on in the world. We can feel better through the conversation, and hopefully that gives us a little bit more motivation for throughout the day, you know. So hopefully after this conversation you feel a little bit better by just us talking, you know, because that is the bare minimum what we need to do. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you to everybody who's on the panel right now. Thank you to everybody who came beforehand as well. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for doing everything that you do down there. I'm going to shout out my moderators publicly today again. I always shout them out, and I really keep my moderators on their toes by the things that I see, the things that I know. We have, 1 minute, sorry, that's my dog. 1 minute. I hear someone's crying. Come on then, who's coming? Come on then, come in, darling. My baby, hello. So from you guys, some of you have seen from her baby, she's 2 months now. She's 2 months old. The dog that was born in my garden. She's growing up. She's growing up. So I had a stray dog wander into my garden and give birth to 9 puppies. She's the one that has stayed with me. Her name is Sky. But yeah, you guys have seen how she's grown from like small to 2 months old now. And she's super lovely. But she was literally just at the door like, let me in. But yes, so my moderators, the way that we're living in 2026, there is so much crap that we have to combat in the comment section and up on the live. Discrimination against all different types of people is so out there that they've got code words for things, they've got emojis for things. You know, it's not just about, and this is why white people continue to gaslight us, because they think that racism has just been out and out slurs. But now they see microaggressive behaviors. They're understanding it a lot more as well now. This is a learning journey for all of us. I'm understanding the depths of racism and discrimination as well, and ableism, or everything that is part of our existence as humans. We're understanding it more. The moderators understand it more, and they really work hard. So I hope that everybody that comes to my life feels safe, feels protected. And I'm always changing the moderators as well, because I mean, I'm very, very, very clear on this. My space needs to be as comfortable and as free as possible, because I've talked about this before. TikTok generally is a cesspit of bullshit. You've got too many too many creators on this app who are just doing stuff for engagement. They don't call out anything that you see. It ends up being incredibly triggering for us to see slurs being used against all different types of communities, and I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. So I hope that you know that when you come here, it ain't gonna be like that at all. Mimi, you ran into an alt-right space this morning. Yes, so there's more of these spaces because, of course, TikTok pushes these spaces as well. The lightning bolts, if you guys don't know, maybe I need to do a video on this or something like that, because we're collecting all information together about some of these dog whistle terms. So just so you know that if you're going into a space, that it's not going to be safe for you as well. So maybe I'll do a video on that. But again, thank you so much to my moderators. I'm actually going to shout you out today because I think I can see, because I've got my other phone. I'm going to shout you out. So we've got This Is Beth, Hermit Sapien, Tyler Durden, Rasta Pinky, CHB18. And I think Anti-Racist Mum for some reason is having some issues coming here. But you guys, thank you so much for being here. Did I miss anybody? I'm looking on this phone. I think I got everybody, didn't I? So thank you.
Do you have a community space where people can post resources? Because I've been collecting lots of resources in my own space to have anti-hate, anti-racism resources to hand. When it comes to people that are on panels, they've got these resources there.
No,
do you have somewhere people can...
You're right, I should. Only in my bio recently have I just posted. I actually haven't even mentioned it really, because the main thing I do is I record all of these lives and I upload them. Yes. I upload them to TikTok and also RSS feeds, so you can listen to them and whatever platform that you listen to music on. But also I want to start collecting things like that so I can add them to my bio as well. So thank you for mentioning that, Anachronista, because that's definitely something I need to do. I will do it as a video maybe, then I'll also do it as a PDF. Or I like Canva. Canva is really cool because they give you a free link as well. So I'll make some kind of document with this information as well. And I'll check out yours as well, Anachronista. Thank you so much. So thank you to everybody again. As I was saying, thank you panelists, thank you moderators, and thank you as well to everybody who came in the chat, in the conversation. Who else was here? Chan as well. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, my phone's kind of messed up. Whoever else is here, you know, I love you, appreciate you. Thank you so much. And these have been very sporadic lives over this weekend because, of course, it's been hot topic of conversation with the local election. It's important for us to talk about where the country is moving and which side are you going to be on. It's very important. Pick a side and make sure you're on the right side, because reform is not the right side. And England is not the right side. You have to come on the right side. So thank you much, everybody, and have a great rest of your weekend. And we will speak again very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye, bye.
If you're not following Fox 5, please follow Fox 5 now and show appreciation. And yes, Fox 5, we'd love it if you did this live again, please.
Thank you so much. Follow my main account. If you go to my bio, this is my backup account because they banned me yesterday because I was being too sassy. So this account is my backup account. So please go to my bio. You'll see my main account, and you'll also see links to some of my resources on my main account as well. So thank you so much as well for that promotion at the end, Bruce. Take care, everybody. Bye, Nigel Fromage. Good to see you as well. Bye, 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 bye.